I'm
stuffing your face and watching those garbage ass Patriots.
Yeah, I'm finishing my bat brownies. Bat brownie.
Oh, bat brownie.
Looks like we live.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the official Geeks and Gamers, Observer, Lyman, and Fam Rise of Skywalker reaction and discussion. Now, first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for everybody who's joined. We got Jeremy Prime from Geeks and Gamers. We have Ryan Kennel from RK Outpost.
We got accents going on.
Soon be more joining. We'll soon have more joining.
Mary says she can't get in. She says, the firewall won't let her in.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah, too many black people in this stream. That's what Ryan said last night. So.
I literally did say that. So I can't.
She's not allowed.
I can't wait to go back and listen to all of that.
I'm upload. I did a sizzle reel of all that. I'll be uploading that tonight. So yeah, perfect. So good. So
I did relate it to walking around Gary, Indiana, and freezing up, which I've done before. They got a nice minor league baseball team there, but don't walk around there at night for sure.
All right. I haven't heard you guys' reaction. So, what did you guys think of this trailer?
I mean, one, we didn't really see anything that we hadn't really already seen. We might have seen it in a little different way. First of all, let's talk about the good. Visually, I thought it was pretty stunning and captivating. And the score sounded incredible. But there's no depth to the trailer, just like there was no depth to Force Awakens. And that's exactly what I anticipate for this movie. It's Rose Tico has been found. That was my favorite part, seeing Rose Tico. It's just, we've already seen all this. We all said, don't expect to be revealed too much, but I thought we'd get a little more than that. We don't know anything more than we knew in the past trailers, to me at least.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I don't know. It's not my stream, so I'm going to shut up. I respect.
You muted yourself.
Uche's muted again, just like last night.
At least. Oh, he's legit muted, though.
Again. White folks up in here taking over as usual.
We're taking over. Colonizers.
White people in the house taking over the black man's stream. What's up? Hey, Mary, white people have taken over. So
yeah, well, I'm sorry about that. I'm on my phone, guys, while I wait for my freaking computer to restart and hopefully cooperate a little bit.
All right, no problem. Uche, you got it fixed? Nope, still can't hear you.
Can't hear you, man.
Look at him. He's
spent
mad.
Spent all that time. Hey, where are the memes at? Where are the memes? Where are the memes? Confused Uche.
Oh man. But since Uche can't talk right now, I will talk. But I mean, I think everybody saw my reaction, at least a lot of you did. When did 3PO get an emotional connection to these people to call them friends?
My God.
All right, can y'all hear me now?
Exactly what I was saying. I was literally so angry. I was crying in my reaction to that.
Yep.
The people that 3PO loves are dead and gone. Who the hell? What the heck are you talking about? I was so livid. I was
one last look at my friends.
Yeah.
I will say for that, yeah, it made me roll my freaking eyes because all his friends are freaking dead now. But there is, right, we expect there's about a 5-year time jump from what we've heard or something like that, right? So, right, in theory, once you buy 20 books and read them all, you can understand how he became great friends with these people. You know what I mean? So, in theory, he could care about them and they could care about him.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get external media in order for your movie to make freaking sense. It's not how this works.
Yeah, you need to go read issue 14 of Star Wars Rebels from Marvel Comics to know what they're talking about. No.
Yeah. And Brian Saladino says R2-D2 not a good friend. R2 definitely is a good friend, but he said friends.
Oh.
No one else in there knows him.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Uche, congratulations on being monetized. So.
Oh, bang, bang. Give me that money. Bang, bang. Hit that super chat. Punch that melee button. Ah!
I had the honor of being Uche's first ever super chat the other day.
Uh-oh.
Hey, I feel like a new man after that.
I felt kind of bad because it just wasn't quite good enough, so I had to do a second one because it wasn't quite good enough.
You went above and beyond. I appreciate it, but I mean, it felt good too.
Let's see.
So, I watched the trailer, and I'll be honest. When you're looking at it, when you've analyzed this type of thing and you've analyzed how they operate, it's a marketing gimmick how they run this trailer to just feed on your nostalgia once again. Like you have Rey training on a planet that looks like something out of Return of the Jedi. You have Rey, bouncing around.
You got a super chat.
Oh, where?
In the comments.
What? Oh, is that a super chat for real?
Yeah.
Do you even know what you're fucking doing?
I have no idea. That's not a super chat. That's just a message.
No.
You can't.
Chat.
Oh, that's
Uche,
a super chat.
we're gonna have to walk you through this.
Yeah, we gotta walk Uche.
No, man, I got it now. Hey, it's my first day on the job.
You got a one earlier from Candace as well.
Really, Candace?
I thought you were just ignoring it, but I didn't realize you didn't understand how it worked.
All right, so
I thought it would like pop up or something on the screen, like doo-doo-doo.
No, so here's what you got to do. All right, you got it. You have to go into the back end of your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I mean, I have all that stuff set up. Super chat's set up in there.
No, I know that, but there's a list that you can pull up. So you need to go into live streaming.
Ooh.
And then you need to find this live stream under events.
Yeah.
And then you need to click on it and then tell me when you get to that point.
All right. So we got videos, bada bang. We're going
confused Uche memes. Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of confused Uche memes.
All right, now it says, "Oh, monetization off. Turn that on."
No. It's on. Ooh. It's on.
It says off.
Sometimes you have to physically set it for your live streams, but it won't affect super chats. It'll just affect
super chats.
It's just affect the replay after.
Should we turn that off on right now?
But
I'm in it.
You might need to share your screen. Because
now it says, do I need to go into the okay, so I got on the video. Now I'm going to the advanced video details.
See, this is clickbait. You thought you were getting Rise of Skywalker. You're getting YouTube tutorials, motherfuckers.
Yeah, buddy.
David Morris, Rey had a dagger. That is true. I did see a screenshot of Rey with a dagger.
Let's see here.
She did have a dagger. Do you think they were destroying Vader's helmet in that scene, her and Kylo?
I don't know what the hell that was. I guess it could have been. It did kind of look like it, but it was like a bunch of other stuff that I didn't understand what was it, like charcoal falling down or something. I only watched it once. I watched it one time, did my video, and said F it.
David Morris says, looks like Ahsoka is in it, but that's a big maybe. Where?
Did you see that there was the Star Wars Rebels ship on
the Ghost? I did see the Ghost.
The Ghost, yeah.
That's what people are saying. I'm in.
And so is that what they're saying? They're saying she might be in the Ghost? Because when we saw her last, she was being escorted by X-Wings. So the Ghost was it Hera, I think.
I see where all the super chats are now. Here we go.
Salsa Shark 01 says Ryan talking smack about technical issues is pretty funny. I got to take my shots when I can get them.
Oh man.
Okay, so you just go through your super chats on the main page.
No, there's a separate window you can open up.
Okay, on the back end of YouTube, on the
it says open in separate. Chat. Yeah, open in separate window.
Yeah, it's open.
And it's just a list of all of your super chats.
Oh, okay, here we go. Got it. So, what's the etiquette for a super chat? You read what they donated, then you read the message, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I heard EVS was talking noise on his live stream. He said I was on EVS's live stream trailer reaction. He said he wants to fight you on the remains of the Titanic. He said he'll beat your ass, kick you over where Leo died, I guess. Kick you over where Leo said I'm king of the world. Look, man, it's real simple. All I got to do is bring some bat brownies and some pies. EVS, it'll be done.
Okay.
So I don't really have any concerns when it comes to EVS. It's not a problem at all. So
Nice.
I'll smack him with the above average, and it'll be over.
I feel like if worse
With
comes
the
to worse,
above
you can
average.
definitely outrun him. I think your cardio will
Shit, you can
make sure you
outwalk him.
survive. Yeah.
So, just to kind of get back to my how I saw the trailer again, like I said, there's a lot of nostalgia pull in. The one scene in it where they're all grouped up under, I guess they're in like they're getting ready to start making battle plans, go to their battle stations or whatever. And they're all grouped up, kind of reminiscent of what you saw in A New Hope when they were getting ready to run their raid on the Death Star. Same thing that you saw in Return of the Jedi, where they're all in one big battle planning room, and they're getting ready to go take on the second Death Star. And now in Rise of Skywalker, they're all packed into some little basement-looking war room, and they're about to go at it again. And then you see again just the same kind of clips that you always see in Star Wars trailers, just space battle and hard stares. You got Finn making a hard stare in the desert. You got Poe and Finn and Chewbacca making a hard stare on the jungle planet. Like a lot of the same cues that you see in all of the trailers, and again, just more dramatic, louder, higher or longer lasting theme songs from John Williams. So, I mean, those things are nice to hear because it's kind of that, it is that nostalgic kind of feel. But at the end of the day, you're looking for the story to be evolved. You're looking for some kind of, reasonable wrapping up of the trilogy, even though, oh my God, what is that?
Hey, real quick, do you see Star Wars for Life, Jeremy's Instagram fan page in the comments?
Make her a mod.
Yeah, make her a mod. So
Yeah.
So click on the three little things and then just add moderator.
Gotcha.
You got to do that in the YouTube chat.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. You've been laughing at this pixel shit all freaking day.
Dude, I can't fucking stop. It's so goddamn funny. I can't stop laughing.
I'm looking forward to you dropping that video of the highlights. So
Yeah.
that I can actually hear what I said in my rage.
Because you were like, I don't even know what's so fucking funny because you couldn't see anything. You knew nothing about what was going on.
Like I knew I was frozen, but I had no idea what I looked like. I just knew I was frozen.
So
all right,
good.
I got
All right, she is
Star Wars
mod.
for Life. She's a mod now. RC from NYC, appreciate the $5, brother. He says, "What up? Hey, Uche. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Mary. Hey, Dollar General Jeremy. Damn.
Yeah.
May the force be with you." That's a cool little nickname, Dollar General.
No, you
Jeremy.
didn't know about that last night. So
Nah.
I am Dollar General Jeremy. See, Jeremy Prime, he's way too important now after the channel hit 200,000 subs. That's the real Jeremy. So I'm Dollar General Jeremy. I am the lesser. I'm not quite above average. I might be a tick below average, but I'm the lesser of the Jeremys. But I am still here to perform a decent job, hopefully. That way Jeremy Prime can continue to go out and enjoy his life and all the money that the SJWs help him make. So hopefully Jeremy Prime does not fire me. Dollar General Jeremy is very happy for his job. So thank you to Jeremy Prime. Appreciate that.
There you go. Public service announcement from Dollar General Jeremy. Servant of God, appreciate the $2.
Yeah. So you have the super chat list pulled up?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. All right. Good job.
Yeah, so you can go and make sure you get Candace's from earlier and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Geeky Candy. This trailer made me feel strange. Boy, I have lots of issues, but had some interesting feel-good moments, which I did not expect. Congrats, Uche, again. Thank you very much, Candy. Appreciate you.
Candy's great.
She's great. She's excellent. Geeks and Gamers, congratulations, black person. Armchair Warlord says the trailer flopped like the defense versus Uche. That is a compliment I will take every day of the week.
I heard that.
So, I mean, how does this train wreck end? I mean, look, I'll tell you one thing that really kind of concerned me about this entire thing was that last little clip right before the end where there's some kind of like droid that's hovering over the hood of what appears to be Palpatine from behind, from over his shoulder, that you can't see his face. I swear to God, if they go with some kind of AI or if they go with some kind of, ridiculous like genetic splicing or something like that, and have him in as like a half Palpatine, half monstrosity type thing, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed.
Dude, it's ridiculous for his existence to even be like. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. Like it's ridiculous. Fuck this shit, man. Like, Ryan,
listen, man. They destroyed everything that made the original trilogies worth the sacrifice that was made by Vader and by Luke. Those mean nothing now, and that's ridiculous.
The problem is, once you bring back Maul, anybody can freaking survive. Literally, the dude was sliced in half and fell down an elevator shaft. Once it happens, anyone can survive. The AI thing, I think that's more, if you read some of the leaks, it was like Palpatine's super freaking old and decrepit, and he's basically being kept alive by machines. So that's probably more likely the scenario. But there is also, we didn't see Palpatine in there, so they could be trying to throw us a curveball, right, by not showing him, even though we've heard his voice several times and like throughout this process, by trying to be like, well, you think it's Palpatine, but it's really blank. And when you look at that dagger, and you think about the dagger of Mortis and the wills and all that, a lot of people are saying, well, maybe the son is the villain, the son from the Clone Wars. I think that'd be kind of crazy if they did that, because I don't think a lot of the general public knows who that is.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of speculation. That would explain why the dagger's so heavily involved in this whole situation.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, like I said, I would have preferred that they jumped over episode 8 and act like it never happened and just continue on from episode 7 than, just go on for 2.5 hours trying to wrap up all these loose ends and all these dead ends in the story arcs that really, I mean, it's just going to be too convoluted in the end. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I did think that they would go a little more nostalgia heavy. Yesterday when I made my prediction as to what but they still did definitely. They're teetering on their nostalgia and everything because they have to. Nobody cares about these new characters. This doesn't feel like the end of the Star Wars saga at all. This feels like bad fan fiction to me. It feels like they wanted to make this is what it feels like. It feels like they wanted to make a Star Wars movie and they didn't have the rights to use Star Wars characters, so they created all these bad attempts at new characters, and they're using kind of like a terrible ripoff of the characters that they can't use, to bring the audience in. Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
I think their intention, right, was they wanted their characters. They wanted people to care about them because they knew that the original group wasn't going to really be able to do anything else after this, right? So they wanted to market their nostalgia, but really establish their characters. But the problem is so few people, I'm not going to say nobody, because there definitely are people out there that really care about Rey and really care about Kylo. Maybe to an unhealthy degree at some points, but there are people that care about them, but it's just not the numbers that they would like it to be. So now they're stuck because, Carrie's died. They killed Han. They killed Luke. So what do they do from here? They bring them back as Force ghosts, as much as they can. But this is the last time they're going to be able to do anything like that. So is anybody going to care about these characters going forward? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I just really don't feel like there's going to be nobody. There's nothing to remember. That's the problem. There's no memorable moment. There's no, in every great movie, in every movie that changes how we perceive things in that genre, there's a moment where you're like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. And, you got that in most all of the Star Wars films. I mean, in A New Hope, I mean, you had, the battle between Vader and Obi-Wan. You had, the destruction of the Death Star in Empire Strikes Back. Obviously, you had, spoiler alert, Vader's big reveal to Luke when they're fighting in Cloud City. And, if you look at the 3 sequel trilogy movies, which one of the movies can you look at and say, hey, this this movie has this moment, which is just completely changed how you're looking at the story as it's unfolding. It doesn't confuse you, but it's like it's a moment of excitement almost. I mean, again, you look at a movie like Joker, spoiler alert, the very end. I think most people who've seen it know exactly what I'm talking about when he has that one, when he kind of transcends out of Arthur Fleck and into Joker, that moment, on the squad car. That's a moment where you're like, this movie is unbelievable. Like, this is amazing. You don't have that in the sequel trilogy at all.
Nope.
So let me get to one of these super chats real quick. Thomas Gilkey, $5. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it. The trailer was garbage. I will go and see it because of the music. The music is beautiful. Don't hate me. This is John Williams' last Star Wars movie. And I mean,
true.
Yeah, I mean, it's a legend. It's a legend, right? That's like saying Hans Zimmer's last, you're not going to go see Hans Zimmer's last Batman movie or something, like great conductor of music. So
I mean, he was like the best part of it, to be honest. The score was on point, as always is with him.
Yeah, the score for the trailer was definitely good. I mean, it gave me them feels. Not gonna lie, it did give me that old, like, excited for Star Wars feel. But you know better now, right? You wait, you watch the trailer, then you go watch it again, then you watch it again, and you look at things for what they are rather than allow them to, indoctrinate you with the good music and with the incredible visuals. You kind of ask, where's the context? For me, I was thinking to myself, why are these motherfuckers riding horses?
It's so bad.
Horses?
Space horses.
Horses.
Space horses. Sporces.
Oh, God.
That's like, that to me is whatever. I don't even care about the horses. It is kind of stupid, but if that's what they're using, on that whatever planet they are, whatever not new planet they're using.
Look, I understand you can only go so far with the planets. I mean, there's going to be more than one desert planet. I get it. But does it have to all look so similar? Does it all have to look like it's just you're picking from a group of like 10 planets and there's nothing, there's nothing that they can reach into that takes them into a different level of creation? Like, can we see a planet that's a little bit like how you look? Like, remember some of the planets on Interstellar? How some of the planets they went to, gravity was so strong on one planet, and then another planet's like pure ice. Like,
and that's a thing that you get in a lot of the Star Wars expanded universe. They get into detail about how the day on this planet's only 20 hours and gravity's only 0.8 of what it normally is, and they have to kind of adjust when they go there. Those kind of things, as opposed to just every planet being exactly the same. Atmosphere and gravitational pull.
Yeah, for sure. Chris Stanley, $5. Appreciate it. Says it all looked good except the characters, the story, the plot, etc. Oh wait. And Red Ring of Death, $5. Appreciate you, Red Ring. Throwing this out to the Fandom Menace. Discovered everyone because of Jeremy. Clap, clap. This trailer sucked.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm a pretty important dude. Again, now that's just Dollar General Jeremy trying to pretend like he's Jeremy Prime. Jeremy Prime's not actually that arrogant, but I'm Dollar General Jeremy. Therefore, I'm trying to be more arrogant. So yes, I am responsible for everyone's success, and I'm here to make sure I point that out. So thank you for that.
Viper says George Lucas must be laughing right now or drinking. I mean, hell, he's drinking something. He got $4 billion. I'd be drinking something.
He's freaking crying, probably. I'd be crying, not laughing.
Drinking something and crying at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I said, I just felt like it was meh. It's like, you know what their old tricks are, so you don't necessarily let them fool you with it. You want to see I was really hoping to find out what was the movie going to actually be about. What is the premise of the movie? They still didn't give us anything.
Well, and they can't. They can't. So much of this right now is banked on getting people in there, especially for that big opening weekend. They need people to be invested. If they reveal the plot and turn too many people off or whatever, then it's a no-go. They need to get that huge opening weekend for this to be a success.
I mean, but that's a double-edged sword, isn't it? If you give us a little bit in terms of what are they looking for what are they looking for that leads them to, the remains of the Death Star? What are they looking for? If you just knew what, even had a clue that they're looking for something, it gives the audience a little bit to kind of run with in terms of, trying to speculate about the plot. I think when people have an understanding about what kind of movie they're going in to see before they go in to see it, I think that at least helps a little bit in setting their expectations. But you're not setting expectations by just giving us sizzle reels. All we've gotten are sizzle reels. These aren't really trailers. They're sizzle reels. They go for, my phone ringing? I think I dropped it. Oh, it's down here. But it's just that they're not giving us anything. I mean, you know how it is when you watch a trailer for like a sequel to a movie that you really like. The reason why you like it so much when you watch that new trailer is because they usually show you a lot of things that you haven't seen before. They usually show you sequences that look different than what you'd expect from that kind of movie. Star Wars gives us none of that. It gives us none of that.
Yep, it's true. I just got a message from Jeremy Prime, and he said I have to change my name, so I will be right back.
All right, so we got TDM in the super chats. He says, "Yo, what up, kid? Watch the trailer once. It was okay. Appreciate that $10, TDM." Orville Nation, $5 says, "Look how James Cameron gave us such a unique planet in Avatar." Yeah. And again, that's a dig on what. That's a dig on the way that they set up. The way their planets are set up. There's not much of a difference between what you see in Star Wars and what you see in a movie like Avatar. But again, I just feel meh is the appropriate term for it. The trailer was just meh. Yeah, and I feel like if they gave us a little bit of story, it would have went from meh to okay. But they didn't give us any story, so fuck them. Who's that? Oh yeah, smash that like button, everybody. Smash that like button. Ba-dum.
Yeah, it's just like I said it, I think yesterday or whenever, I think that was yesterday. It's tough to remember at this point, so many Twitter notifications ago. But I think I said yesterday that you're going to see it marketed all day on ESPN, and of course it was. Right, they were running commercials. It seemed like every commercial break, ESPN commercials for Star Wars to pump it up, that it was going to be on Monday Night Football.
Yeah. And they want to put it on a Patriots game because I think people are going to actually watch a Patriots game. But
they're sitting there rooting for the Jets to make it close so people don't turn it off.
Yeah.
If I could spell, I would get this tweet out. Okay, I keep fucking it up, so I'm sorry. I keep deleting it. I'm like fucking Ryan Johnson right now.
What are you trying to tweet about the stream or?
About the fact that Jeremy Prime got onto me because I had to change his name.
Oh my goodness.
Suzugamori. I'll honestly go watch a different movie that comes out the same week. Maybe Jumanji and then go watch Star Wars in its third week. Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Like, we're all not going to – I mean, there's a boycott and then there's like a boycott. We're not going to watch it necessarily on the first week, but we'll watch it at some point during this theater run, of course, just to kind of
speak for yourself,
just to kind of validate our, what our assumptions were about the movie, or you may be pleasantly surprised, depending on who you are. But for me, I'm not going to go watch it on opening weekend. No. I mean, I'm not hyped for it like I was for like Joker. I mean, when Joker came out, I was at the theater that evening. Boom. But, I was at the theater on opening night for, The Last Jedi. And that was a pretty traumatic experience. And, I still see a therapist for it. But with this new Star Wars we got coming out, who knows, right? Who knows? We're going to go in there with just no expectations and see if it's just even an all right movie? Could be. But the trailer, not giving me much hope for that.
Man, we got Brian Saladino in chat saying that we were supposed to go over to Hello Greedo for true Star Wars fan takes.
I agree with that.
I agree too, Brian. For sure.
I agree. Because I mean, true Star Wars fans are beta males at this point. I mean, at least the ones that Disney is trying to pander to. So I 100% agree with that.
That is who Star Wars is made for, Brian. You. So there you go.
Yep. Nerdrotic and I met Jeremy at New York City. Yeah, that's true. I'm cool. Yes, you are cool. A lot cooler than Nerdrotic. That's for sure.
Red Ring of Deaths for $5. Appreciate that, Red Ring. He says, when can we start addressing these movies as the Disney failology? The failology instead of the trilogies.
The Pats wrecking the Jets is more interesting than this trailer. Kind of.
The goat, baby. The mother effing goat.
That mother effing goat.
Uche, I found something on my screen that needs to be shared. Someone tweeted me and said this will never end.
Where's that?
Down at the bottom, you see I'm sharing my screen. You can click that and add it to.
Share. Oh, your screen or what?
Yeah, my screen. Well, like it should be in there with the people.
Like if you're gonna add somebody to the stream, look down there. You'll see his screen. You can add it.
Oh, sweet. Jesus.
There we go. We've got a pixelated Ryan Snoke.
It's pixelated Snoke.
Did you tweet that? Did you retweet this?
I will. Give me a second.
Oh, that's so great. That's amazing.
Wow, that looks like every white person I've ever seen in my life.
That is fucking offensive. I cannot believe I'm being so insulted again on stream. People calling me the racist one.
We're gonna start calling this trilogy the Failogy.
I mean, why? Why do they even have Kylo rebuilding his mask? Why?
No, I like that. I wanted him to keep the mask.
No. I know, but what's the point? Because doesn't have the motherfucker on.
He wasn't wearing it, right? Like
one fucking shot.
You had one job. Put the helmet on,
man. It's so stupid. Like the picture you have behind you, it has his mask on. The picture that you have behind you on this stream, it has his fucking mask on. Yet he doesn't have it on in the fucking movie. It's so stupid.
Well, and the one time that he did have it on, it was when they were working together to destroy. If you said that was maybe Darth Vader's helmet, like some kind of memorial to or something.
Maybe his charred remains.
Something, right? Some kind of they were destroying something together. That has to be at a pretty advanced time in the movie, but at the time that they're fighting each other on, in the water there, he doesn't have it on. So it is kind of puzzling.
Yeah, it's weird. He looked like a wet poodle in that scene. Like, what are you doing? Put your helmet on.
God, could you imagine how much cooler he would have looked if he walked through there with his fucking helmet on?
Yeah, with his helmet.
I think his helmet looks dumb, to be honest.
I love his helmet.
Kind of glowing, those cracks glowing with that kind of amber look.
I like the helmet. I've always liked the helmet.
It looks too small. It's weird.
Third Man 3 for $5. Maybe 3PO is getting his mind wiped in order to activate a function. Last look at Friends is one last look at his memories of Luke, Han, and Leia.
Well, fucking put Luke, Han, and Leia in it, motherfuckers.
That could be. I mean, if it was that, that would be cute, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cute. Yeah, but look, it's the final trailer, so we're not going to really get anything new until the TV spots start dropping. But something tells me those are going to be quite vague as well. I feel like when the movie is really vague with its story, like to the extreme, like I feel like this one is, they're not really giving us anything on the story, which means maybe they're not so confident in giving us anything in the story. Maybe the story's not as layered as one would hope. Who knows?
I mean, you got to be like, we've seen, me and Uche, we're not going to talk about it too much, but BVS, the trailer for that, when they revealed Doomsday, you're like, come on,
Yeah.
what are you doing? This is a trailer. You know what I mean? So
but
they
that the directors don't have any control over that.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard Zack Snyder talk about it, but I get what they're doing. And it's unfortunate because we were all, built up anticipation for it, and it's basically exactly what we saw already. Who knows? I have to imagine they're pulling some kind of subversion of expectations, some kind of big twist.
Never say that fucking phrase again.
I'm just saying, they have to be doing that, right? That's why they're not showing Palpatine. It's going to be something bigger, but it does seem like the leaks are lining up pretty well with everything. Especially him, like them your mistake was you coming together or whatever. If you remember from the leaks, what he like, how Palpatine kind of wanted to reinvigorate himself by using them once they were together. So,
yeah, I mean,
I'm just done with it.
If you're thinking strictly about the powers that Palpatine has, he could probably, just his presence, the dark side of his presence, the dark force from his presence can, pull people into the dark side. So, maybe he plans on using that because to me, it looked like Kylo was acting as if he was redeeming himself and moving back towards the light. But, with him and Rey together, there's that potential to try and, get two birds with one stone for Palpatine. So maybe that's what he's trying to do. But really, I just can't understand why would you even bring him back? Like this, what would happen to kill the past? What happened to moving on? Like
they had what happens. They had no fucking plan, and Rian Johnson killed Snoke, and so they were like, shit.
Oh, yeah. I think Snoke must have been their original plan.
It had to be. It had to be.
And they must have been so pissed off when they killed him off. Like, what?
So stupid.
What?
And we've already gotten all, we know that Kathleen Kennedy doesn't do any work, and she waited for Solo to get 90% done. She probably didn't even know that Snoke was killed until a couple of days before the fucking premiere. And she's like, what the fuck? Wait, shit. And it's too late. So...
all right, a couple super chats here. Winslow Friday for $5. Appreciate that, Winslow. Ray's line, no one knows but me. No one knows me but me, or whatever. Clearly a backhand at the She's a Mary Sue crowd. Should have just accepted their failure and moved on.
I don't know if they're that intelligent to do that.
Red Ring of Death, again for $5. Appreciate you, Red Ring. He says, wait, they can't, Jeremy. They killed Luke, Han, and Leia because that's what the fandom wanted. Okay.
Yeah. That's what the fandom wanted? What?
No, we didn't. I think he's being sarcastic there.
Oh, okay. Man, somebody like me, somebody's sarcasm. I apologize. That's what happens when you spend time with Ryan. My bad. So,
well, The more I think about it, like I said, I only saw it once, so I don't have like a great grasp of it. But you said something earlier, Uche, about people just like staring into the distance and like no dialogue or anything like that. That's really what it was. So much of it.
Yeah, it was a lot of
people.
Sizzle shots, a lot of sizzle, a lot of like what do they call it? Expository shots. I can't remember how the word goes, but. Expose. It was just an expose of shots of staring into whatever. Like there was no, it just didn't put anything together. Come on. I'm trying here. Give us something.
I thought it was fun, and we saw that one shot very clearly of Rose, so you could see her in it, and then that was it.
Yeah, it was one shot. And you know what's funny? I bet you she dies in the next scene.
I think so
That's
too.
what
I
they
mean,
do to characters like that. They kill them when they show them like that.
What's Finn gonna be doing in this movie? You know
what, man? I'm so pissed at how they did Finn.
I'm sure you are.
What was that? What? Because he's black? God damn!
No,
I am too.
Because it would have been nice to have another black Jedi if they would have used Finn in a manner that would have made more sense. Like, why not give this dude some damn force ability? Why not have him have some force, some sensitivity to the force, so he can be on that journey with Rey too? Like, it should have been Rey and Finn. That's what it felt like it was going to be. And
I don't even give a shit about like them making him a Jedi or anything, but why don't you give him a story? Like his story in The Last Jedi is the exact same as it is in Force Awakens.
Well, what I meant from The Force Awakens on is where I wanted to see them explore into that. I mean, isn't this shit about Jedis? I mean, isn't it about the Force and the Jedis and the Sith? I mean, at the end of the day, there has to be a rebuilding of the Jedi Order, whether you're going to call them Jedi or something else. At the end of the day, there's going to be a dark side to oppose it. So why not, work? I mean, they didn't work on anything. Damn it. And now we got this. Oh, my God. Let's go to super chats before I start just railing.
Just go. You got to do it. You got to rant.
I mean, look, here's my problem with this freaking series that they're doing right now. They didn't even explore anything. They didn't explore anything that really is connected to the essence of Star Wars, which is the Force, which is the battle between good and evil, Jedi and Sith. I mean, the least amount of lightsaber battles we've ever seen, the least amount of references to the things that stand as the principles for the Jedi Order and the Sith. I mean, you turn Snoke into a babbling, fucking monologuing little, like, super. What is he? Is he like 10 feet tall? Like, I don't even know. But he's monologuing and making fun of people and dragging Commander Hux on the floor like a rag doll, like all for comedic, effectiveness. Which this is a Star Wars movie. Subtlety is the word of the day. Like, do it subtly. Don't slap it in our face, because it's not that kind of movie where you can just be that way. It's not a Marvel movie. You can't just go head on with quips and feel like people are going to really embrace that. Like, you got to explore some of the seriousness of the universe. Then you have to explore some of the wonder and some of the enchantment of it. But you don't you don't bring 2017, you don't bring 2017 comedic quips that kind of break the fourth wall into a Star Wars movie. It's supposed to be a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So now we look at this movie. They're riding horses. Who rides horses?
It's so bad.
What is this? The Quick and the Dead? Like, who's riding? What they gonna do on horses? This isn't even fucking Thor. You can't even go Thor with that.
I kind of gave all my anger to World Class Bullshitters when I joined their stream, but they're riding horses, guys. They're riding horses.
They were riding Budweiser. They were riding Budweiser Clydesdale. Star Wars.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know if I would put that in the trailer. It is a little stupid to put in the trailer. I don't mind them like riding horses, because one of the things So one of the things about the Star Wars universe is it's so vast, and there's planets that are on different level of technology, as far as advancement and stuff. So I can see if they're going there and they're trying to blend in, right? And they don't want to use, speeders or stuff that would make them stand out. That makes sense to me, that they could be using whatever the population uses, but it does look cringe and stupid on a trailer. Yeah. I'll say that.
I mean, think of it like this. You shoot that horse one time and it's dead with one of those blaster rifles or with any of those cannons that are on top of the warship that they're riding horses on. How do the horses get up onto the warship? These are Star Destroyers. Like, what the hell? It doesn't make any sense. I can't abide by. That's the only part that I was truly, utterly cringed with. I was like, oh my, horses? Horses?
At this point, I'm changing my request. JJ Abrams, I'm aware that you listen to Geeks and Gamers. I appreciate that. And I'm gonna change my request. I no longer want to see Creed or Nickelback do the opening crawl. I am now requesting Dwight Yoakam. I want him to be riding one of those horses with his cowboy hat and his tight fucking jeans. I want him to do the opening crawl on one of the space horses. So that's my prediction, JJ. Please make that happen.
Well, if the rumors of reshoots are true, they're still doing it, so they got plenty of time.
They got plenty of time. Call it Dwight Yoakam. Make it happen. Make it happen.
Yeah.
All right.
And I saw a lot of people saying that the fact that they showed so little is like an indication of how deep the reshoots really are. And I think you could go with that if you want. I think that more kind of like what I was saying earlier. I really think that. Oh my God! Look at Ray.
Look at her arm.
My freaking antivirus decided to go Hulk Beast on me, and so I had to literally uninstall it so I could get on this server.
Why is there a
Hulk Ray behind you?
Mary Sue Ray, guys.
Is that the transsexual one?
I don't care what it is. It's disturbing.
You didn't even ask her pronouns?
Yeah, what's her pronoun? Don't judge her.
Or her. I guess
or
I should have
him.
said that.
Or it. Whatever the fuck you are.
I'll move myself over to the side so you guys can see her a little bit.
Oh, look at that. Look at those pecs.
Slide to the
left. Mary, when are you doing a stream that you want me to try to join on your channel?
You can come on Wednesday if you want to.
What time? Wednesday?
Wednesday Night Mayhem.
8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about it. Yeah. I'll see if I can make that happen.
He never asked to get on our streams, right, Ryan?
I'm here, you black SOB.
We had to bend his arm to get him to come to ours.
I got Ryan's monetized in 6 hours.
Uche, I have a suggestion. Grow up here.
When can I come onto your stream, Mary? Sometime?
Literally. I got Ryan monetized in 6 hours. Okay?
That is
Let me tell you something, bucko. Big Ooch over here. Got his damn self monetized.
No, the fuck you did not. You've been begging for us to help your ass out.
You came on one stream, buddy.
How many fucking subs did you get from them Geeks and Gamers videos?
Woo, from my Geeks and Gamers videos?
Yeah.
Boom! A lot, motherfucker. That's right. Big Oops did that.
Oh man!
I will say I feel like I am the king of Sports Wars now, Jeremy, because I officially have the highest viewed video on the Sports Wars channel now, eclipsing your Serena Williams take.
Well, again, you're talking to Dollar General, Jeremy.
I'm sorry.
No, this isn't Jeremy Prime, and I'm going to try to do my best to respond in a sarcastic way. But I'm just not up to Jeremy Prime standards. But look, it's real simple, okay? The only reason you have the ability to claim you're the king of Sports Wars is because Jeremy gave you that ability, okay? So just remember who your daddy is, okay? That's all I'm saying.
That is true. I do feel blessed. Wow. I feel blessed for the opportunity, but get good, son. Get something up there.
Wow. I do need to make more videos. I do need to make more Sports Wars videos.
Well, I talk shit, but I made that one that got 20,000 views. I made another one about baseball that got about 70 within the span of fucking 4 hours.
I know. I love how it goes.
Nice.
But how did my LeBron video do? Did it hit 1,000 views?
It's good. Yeah, it's like a 1.4 or something like that. So it creeped. It creeped. It was a little strange, but
okay. Couple of super chats. Orville Nation, $2. Appreciate it. He says Finn's character was so wasted. Red Ring again for $2. Appreciate you, Red Ring. See you out there balling, cuz. If Rose Tico dies, we have a decent takeaway. Kingdom of Cloud, $5. Appreciate you. He says, just wanted to say thanks for the sub. I did sub to your channel. I remember it. When I heard anime, I said, hey, I'm going to go check that out. He was like, damn, only one new sub. But when I saw who it was, I was flipping out. See that? Big Ooch is a man of the people.
Not really. Not really.
I have my public persona, and then I have my private persona.
Dude, we have a shitload of videos to upload on Geeks and Gamers, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and upload. I think I'm gonna do the Watchmen one right now.
Mortal Thinker 199. Respect to Uche. Damn right, brother. Damn right. All right. So I think we're all in agreement. This was a very meh to the meh Star Wars trailer. And
I wasn't even here for the conversation. I have no idea what.
We
all loved it. We all loved it, Mary. It's the best thing in the world.
Okay, Mary. Well, look, Mary, give us your take. What did you think of it?
I got like literally like emotionally upset at 3PO, and that at that point I was sort of like done. I guess I did take away from it. Okay, so Rose is still around to some extent. She's up walking around. After that car crash, she's fine, guys. It was a flesh wound.
I mean, the way she just like robbed Finn of a good fucking story arc was unbelievable.
Yeah,
she's good. No problems there. Not that I wish ill on the character. It's just, and I did have it. Like, I don't even know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. The only thing I know is that at some point, Rey and Kylo Ren are gonna team up again. Woo!
Yeah, whoop-de-doo on that. Whoop-de-doo.
So, that and then the 3PO stuff ticked me off. I was actually upset. I was borderline tears because you're not friends. They're not your friends. They're not your friends.
Somebody did present a let me see. Let me go back and look at the super chat. Presented a reasonable explanation for that. I don't know if it'll be true, but it sounded okay. Maybe 3PO is getting his mind wiped in order to activate a function. Quote, last look at friends is one last look at his memories of Luke, Han, and Leia. Now, there is a history.
That's a reach. That's a massive.
I don't think it's too much of a reach because think of this. At the end of the prequel saga, what happened to 3PO and R2-D2? Memory wipes.
Okay,
not
but
R2-D2.
He's literally looking
at them of the original of the prequel trilogy.
Here's the issue with that is you have to anticipate them actually showing any concern for the relationship between 3PO and the people who he spent the last 40 years or so with, and that you didn't even have concern for the relationship between Han, Luke, and Leia. So why would they? No, it's very clear. They made it very clear. He's looking at his friends. He's working inside of his head, right? And he's looking at his friends, and maybe he is about to have his memory wiped, but he's definitely not referring to Luke, Han, or Leia. He's referring to the people in front of him. And
how do we know that though?
Because Lucasfilm's not that smart.
Well, I mean,
they're just
I
not.
get what you're saying, but that makes more sense, and it actually fits than him looking at them. He's only known them. Okay, let's put in the context the amount of time.
But again, they're trying to create an emotional attachment to these new characters for the fans, and the best way to do that is to use 3PO to try to pretend like they have an emotional connection, and they don't. But they want you to believe it, and the general audience is going to believe that. It's
a further manipulation of people's emotions in order to try to sell tickets. So, 3PO loves them, so you should too. No,
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that's what it is. I've just sitting here. I mean, and I'm taking in what you're saying.
Ryan said he has to leave.
Yeah, I do have to hop off. I got a bunch of editing to do, Jeremy, for a video that hopefully we can get up tomorrow. But we've got we forgot to make an announcement. We got Lethal Long Schlong Lightning in the house.
Lethal Long Schlong.
Nice pick you got going.
That is a nice image.
I became a meme overnight without even realizing it.
That's fantastic. I half thought you were going to come in with the Brazzers thing that you threw up on Twitter.
No, God.
That was a good one. That was a good one, but you just can't top a classic.
Well, look, and this kind of getting back to what Mary was talking about. I mean, it may very well be what you're saying. I don't doubt that. I'm just saying that because it's only a sizzle reel, and they don't really give us, any real context to anything that's said or anything that's done within the trailer. I would, and I'm just using my own Star Wars logic here, because, like I said, I think back to the prequels. Well, he has no recollection of the prequels because his memory got wiped. So if he has to activate a function that is going to make him more useful to them that will automatically wipe his memories, well, the memories that he has the most of.
Hang on. Yes, chat. Josiah can join. Josiah's going to join.
Yeah.
The chat's asking. And
Yeah.
Ryan's got to leave, so get the fuck out, Ryan.
Yeah, I got to bounce. I'll just say really quick that we know from the leaks exactly what 3PO is doing. So if you guys want to talk about that, you can. So
yeah.
See you guys later.
Ryan.
Well, all right, brother. Later. Well, I'm just looking at it and I think to myself, he has more memories of his time during the.
But what about that as an indication that he's delving into his memories?
Well, what is it an indication that he's not?
That's like a negative.
They're like literally standing right in front of him.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean he's looking at them.
Well, that proves that there's not a flying spaghetti monster, Uche, but that doesn't mean there's one running around.
Look,
you're wrong, Uche. You are
ever
wrong.
had a conversation with somebody where you stare off in the distance and it looks like you're looking at them,
Uche.
but you're thinking in your brain of something else completely?
Uche, honey.
Uche,
no.
you are reaching.
Yeah, right now.
There you go. I mean, I'm just saying, it's not a reach to think that they may
reach.
That's
It's a reach. Like
That's
it's Rainbow Arms
man.
level reaching here, sweetheart. It's Mary Ray Sue arm level reaching here, hun. That's
okay. Well, we'll keep a note of this.
Everyone deserves a reach around.
And we'll revisit it after the movie drops.
absolutely. I would be thrilled to.
Because
That's
I'm not
very.
saying you're
I
wrong.
gotta say that this is very dangerous. Having a disagreement with respect in 2019. I just want you guys to know, it's very dangerous.
Like,
Very
what?
dangerous.
No. I mean,
I'm
she's
confused.
right. She might be right. I'm not
Is
saying-
Mary a racist or is Uche a sexist?
Yeah, I know. Ooh, that's a
Maybe it's both.
which
Depending
one
on
is
what
the
they
racist
ask
or
me,
the
it might
sexist?
be both.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's both. Yeah, I think it could be both.
Interesting scenario. we
Hey, I wear my feelings on my sleeve.
have. Let's see. All right.
Okay, let me check the super chats. Oh, no new super chats. What's going on, chat? I'm a racist? Oh, that's awesome. I should give him $1 for that.
Hold on. You want a super chat? I got you.
Oh my God, these Ryan memes are amazing.
I know.
Jeremy at Denny's. Appreciate you. Trailer looked okay to me, but what part with 3PO and the horses were like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Well, Ryan. I don't think Ryan's ever going to be in another meme again with his normal face. It's always going to be pixelated Ryan, which is the best thing ever. So
That's how
look
we're gonna
at this one, Uche. Give me a minute. I got to pull it up, but I want you to do a screen share because this one is awesome and it's got all of us except for Nerdrotic. So we're gonna have to. I told them they have to add Nerdrotic to it. Let me find it right here.
I fully understand why the memers are so popular now. Like taking this screenshot of Ryan's face is the single most important thing I've ever done in my life.
All right, hey, give me a screen share, Uche. Look at this.
What is that?
That is me in a live stream. Star Wars by the Skywalker. We've got the Jack crew, got Anna flipping a bird.
Oh, why they got two black folks sitting next to each other? What is that supposed to be? What is that supposed to be?
We got EVS and Rose Tico. We got Jeff and Jesse. Mecca is face palming. Mary and myself are drunk. We got the two token black guys. We got JJ, Kathleen. There he is, Ryan.
Back at him like what the fuck?
We've got Mauler and Rags. We've got Leia, Puppy Face, and Tulip. This is amazing, but we need Gary. And we don't have Lethal either. So Josiah, but this is still great. This is amazing. Right
I
here.
am wrong about 3PO.
Yes.
I can't wait to see the movie now just because of that. I'm going to go into the movie 40 minutes late just so I can catch that part and walk out.
I love how Ryan will never be in another
report
meme.
back.
Ryan will never be in another meme with his normal face, and that is amazing right there.
Yeah, he'll never make it that way. Oh, there goes Josiah.
Yo. What's
Josiah,
up?
go Daredevil on us for a minute. Go ahead. You need to...
Wow.
Daredevil Josiah.
I don't need eyes to see.
You need to do a whole video on Geeks and Gamers like that.
Maybe I should.
That would be
Maybe I'll
funny.
do that.
Especially like make it where you can barely see through, but you can still read the article, and people are like, wait, what?
yeah.
Wait, what? How the hell is he doing that? You know?
That'd be awesome.
What did you think of the trailer, Josiah?
The best part of the trailer was the space horses.
Oh, my. He's talking about space horses. He said the space horses.
I said this on my live stream. That's literally going to be the best part of that entire movie. The space horses. Like that's the only thing I'm excited about. JJ just came out and he's like talking about how cohesive this movie's going to be with the rest of the trilogy and stuff.
Bless his heart.
This trailer did not make anything feel more cohesive at all. If anything, I'm more confused than I was before. So, this trailer made me even less excited about the movie than the first trailer did, which is amazing. Good feat.
I'm sorry. I can't go looking at the Ryan memes, dude. They're nonstop at this point. It's
all right. I got a couple of super chats real quick. Mortal Thinker for 199 says, "Oh shit, Uche scared this right out of me. So sorry." Ha ha. That's right. Ha ha. Scared motherfucker so fast they give me their money. Jeremy at Denny's for $2 more. Mary Girl Bad. I stand with Uche. Love you, Mary.
Wait, was there like a big fight or something?
No. We just had a little like a friendly, a gentleman's bet. I'll say gentle.
I am not.
Gentle ladies?
Yeah, I was thinking about. I was like, do I need to say like gentle people? That's how fucked up shit has us today, guys.
You said gentleman. I'm so offended.
You say gentleman, they call you a misogynist.
Then it's the toxic misogyny.
Toxic, rapist, racist, bigoted, triggered bastard. That's how they do us now. See?
Yep, it's true. It is true.
I'm over here stumbling over my words because I don't know whether to say gentlemen or gentle people or gentle group.
That's where they got us. That's where they got us to. They've got us to a point where we can no longer literally just speak to another person and everyone not be uber offended over literally nothing, right?
I promise you.
I'm offended. You said gentlemen's instead of gentlemen.
Gentleman. Somebody said that there's 10,000 downvotes on the video already.
No.
Yeah, it says 100,000 likes to 10,000, but that's not a great ratio for a film of this magnitude. So
I mean, if it's a great movie, I mean, you expect it to have most 1,000 dislikes at the most. I would say if it was a good trailer. If it was a good trailer, 1,000.
I think mostly. Well, look, let's be fair. It's not that the trailer itself is like horrific.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it is, right? It's that this movie itself is altogether a shit show, right? Am I allowed to curse, Uche? I don't know.
What? Yeah. You know, come on now, you in the hood now, right?
Okay. No, it's the overall train wreck / shit show that this entire thing is, and so we are all sort of at this point where like you can't just hand us something that isn't phenomenal at this point, that doesn't actually do something to course correct the problems that are already in place, which they haven't done. As near as I can tell, they've done literally nothing to show us that there's any measure of course correcting going on. So no, this is where we are. The fandom is broken. Own that up front and do something to fix it. Don't just keep trudging forward as if everything's fine.
That's exactly what they're doing right now. Yeah. That's exactly what they're doing. They're pretending like nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened. It's all great.
Awesome.
It's all fine. It's all fine.
Okay.
We love the fans. We love the fans.
Memberlando, member 3PO. I'm Amber.
I wish I could find this meme. I wish I could find this meme. It's got Kathleen Kennedy, Ryan Johnson, and JJ in the car, and it's like, "Get in, losers. We're going redeeming." It's just like,
tell you what.
I'm looking at the Star Wars UK, which is the first one I saw had it posted. It's got 20,000 views, and right now the upvote is 8.8 and the downvote is 3.6. That's fucking high. Like that's that ratio right there.
Yeah,
they're in panic mode right now in the Disney offices. Like, oh my god! Like, I guarantee it.
Yeah, and look, it's one of the top comments says, "Everyone, X-wings for the Star Destroyer assault. JJ, horses."
I love it. I was gonna say, like, what the heck are they doing on horses? I thought this was Star Wars.
I gotta fucking screenshot that. Put that on.
They're trying to, I don't know, pull from Lord of the Rings now or something, I guess, or I don't know.
Oh, that's so good.
Lightning for $2 said, "Phone overheated. No care to see the trailer. To be honest, no, we get it."
Oh.
Orville Nation for $5. Uche, I get you. I was initially thinking the same as you to myself about 3PO, but I know they're just creating fake emotions with new cast and 3PO. Yeah, well, I mean, hey. One can hope until we know for a certain fact that it's not. That's just how I look at it. I'm trying to be somewhat optimistic in some part of this trailer to try and give myself something to try and enjoy. When I go check out the movie, because I mean I love Star Wars, man. It's Star Wars. I love it, so I'm not going to just totally turn my back on it if I feel like there's any small little piece that it shows that they look back to what the original trilogy did, and they tried to kind of either pay homage to it or evolve it. But
let me ask you a question, Uche, and this is a serious question. I'm not bragging on you. I'm not dogging on you. I'm just curious, right? So we can have a dialogue here. Do you think that if we go to the movie and we pay for the movie and we essentially tell them, yes, okay, it's still Star Wars, and so therefore I still love it, regardless of whether or not it's really jacked up, that they will move forward in a productive way going forward from here? Or do you think that, what kind of impact do you think that will have on their overall mentality about how they're going to treat things as they move forward?
Well, I'll just say it like this. I feel like when you go after your fan base in a non-discreet way, like they did, the only way for them to feel the same kind of burn that the fans feel is for them to not make any money. And I agree that they've had enough time to kind of right the ship with how they address the fans and the fandom, and they haven't taken the time to really genuinely come out and be honest about what has gone wrong with Star Wars. They haven't been honest about why they're really losing money. And I think as long as they're not willing to be honest about that, then the fandom should continue to hit them in their pockets as hard as they can. Okay. Because once you hit them in their pockets enough times to where they really once they got to start firing people and they got to start cutting, pay for some people, then you've touched the nerve, and then they're gonna at the very least they're gonna second guess any knee-jerk reaction to disrespect the fan base or to do something that they know isn't a genuine piece of what the fans expect for Star Wars. This movie, I feel like, is literally the let's get this shit the fuck over with movie.
Oh yeah.
Let's get this shit over with, and let's move on to something else.
I agree, but if it turns out to be even like moderately successful, I think that sends the message that the people who were bucking against it really weren't that much to be worried about. Oh, we really weren't. Oh, see, we knew they were a minority. We knew that they were nothing to be concerned about. I think that if we don't show up and show out in terms of not showing up and not showing out for this, that we are going to have an issue on our hands where moving forward, they're going, see, we were right all along. It's this minority group of incels who are really loud but can't really make a dent on us. And so I feel like it's really important here for us to do what it is that we need to do. And I'm not calling for a boycott. That's not what I'm saying. I want to be very careful with my words here. What I'm saying is that if you feel, as I feel, that a change needs to happen for the sake of Star Wars, then do not reward bad behavior by giving them your money. It's the same thing with your children, right? Do not reward children for behaving in a bad way by like taking them to Disney World. No, you don't go, you don't spend your money there. Look, I understand the desire to see the film because you want to watch the train wreck. I know, I'm totally on board for watching the train wreck. I'm going to get my popcorn and I'm going to be like, nom, 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 this is going to be a disaster. That's great. But at the same time, I am not giving them my money. There are ways to get around this, guys. And if you feel as I feel, I would highly recommend you stick to your guns on this one, because otherwise no change is ever going to come.
No, I think that those are a lot of good points. I agree with you that you can't line their pockets just because it's the last one. But also, and I don't know, Josiah, you can chime in whenever you feel like it. I really honestly believe that once they get past this last part of the sequel trilogy, that there's a good chance that you'll start seeing some big changes. Namely, Kathleen Kennedy, I think, will be gone within the next year and a half. I believe she'll be gone. They're already positioning. They've already had Kevin Feige come out and say he's going to do a Star Wars movie, which, I mean, that is the writing on the wall, even if it's not going to be Kevin Feige running Star Wars. That's writing on the wall that they need somebody who is going to bring a completely different, more structured, more streamlined vision to the Star Wars brand, because right now it's the fandom is fractured, and the brand is fractured because everything around it was fractured. All the planning was fractured. All the preparation for these movies were all done in vastly different ways, where you had J.J. Abrams going with a lot of trying to go with more practical effects in Star Wars. The very next movie, you have a utter CG, CGI fest with The Last Jedi. On one end, where you're having J.J. Abrams trying to present a more family-oriented, but new age kind of hipster style of I won't say hipster, but more of a new age contemporary style of Star Wars. On the other side, you have Rian Johnson going into a very niche and a very kind of, I mean, there's niche, and then there's like kind of an outlier kind of setup for how he did the movie. I mean, everything was so jumpy, and you went from one thing to another that nothing really connected, nothing really felt like it was a cohesive story from start to finish. So where you have one person who actually has a story, who actually puts together, call it copy and paste if you want, but it's still a story that had an actual arc that was leading to expected answers to certain questions in the sequel. You didn't get that because you had a completely different vision taken in a completely different way, and that just completely destroyed any consistency within the entire universe. So at this point, they can't, it doesn't matter what they tell us in their heads. When they lay their ass down in bed at night, Bob Iger knows Star Wars is fucked up. Like, Star Wars is fucked up right now. And we can't really even talk about it being fucked up until we get Kathleen Kennedy out the door. Once she's out the door, then you'll start hearing, just like you talk about with George Lucas, with all this shit he's putting out about George Lucas, he's going to start talking about Kathleen Kennedy. I guarantee it. Or if he leaves Disney, he's going to start talking about Kathleen Kennedy and how he really feels, because they're not talking about how they really feel. They're talking about what keeps the brand as safe as they can. They try and do as much damage control as possible. But at the end of the day, when this last movie is done with, you're going to see big changes, I think. They're going to let Star Wars sit for a minute from a movie standpoint. But I think that as far as the future for it, for any new trilogy that's not focused around anything in the past or anything in, the Old Republic,
but that's exactly what they're talking about doing, though. That's exactly what they're talking about doing, is going to Old Republic, and she's literally stated that's something that they're looking at doing. And so
Old Republic is a good move, but I'm talking about the future as in chronologically. The future, the next set of trilogies.
I don't think that they have enough faith in, and they shouldn't have enough faith in themselves. But I don't think that they have enough faith in moving forward without clinging to these stories that are already present. I think that there's ineptitude that's just run amok around there, and so they're picking and pulling pieces wherever they can in order to try to sort of Frankenstein monster this thing together in order to put something out there that is, sort of familiar enough to fans that will go, oh, hey, I remember that, and then they will show up for it, because they don't have enough ideas. Hollywood, and especially Disney, is bankrupt creatively. They're completely and utterly bankrupt. They can't put out anything original in ages.
Like a decade.
Yeah. So what makes you think they're going to move forward with new Star Wars stories? They don't have the gumption or the creative ability to do something like that.
Yeah, the only thing that they have been creative enough with bringing out in terms of like new material has only been Toy Story.
Well, even the Toy Story is still just a sequel.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I see what you mean about, like, getting rid of Kathleen Kennedy may help and stuff, but it runs deeper than Kathleen Kennedy. There's a lot of just stuff in general at Disney that's just not working at the moment, and there needs to be big changes across the board. As far as Kathleen Kennedy goes and stuff, like,
starts though, where do you think it starts, Josiah? It starts at the top. It starts with Kathleen Kennedy. That when that changes, then the entire culture of Lucasfilm will change.
I disagree.
I don't know. I think it starts even higher than that.
I think it's Bob Iger.
Yeah,
I think it's Bob Iger. Hey, just so you know, I'm about to bounce off here in about 10 minutes. So whatever you guys want to talk about with me, or if you want me to rant about something, or if you want me to put Ryan, I'm doing it right now. Here, let me just change it. So,
well, Josiah, just kind of, and I just real quick, I'm gonna let you just continue to talk as well, but in football, dude, like I said, I think I said this on the other stream. When a new general manager comes in, the general manager answers to the owner. It's the only person that the general manager answers to. When a new general manager comes in, it doesn't matter who's on that team. Almost 50 out of 53 roster spots are likely going to change within the next 12 months. That's because they have to reestablish a new culture for the franchise when they come in, because usually it's a new general manager and a new head coach. So they have to reestablish what that team is going to be about and what that team's goals and values are going to be moving forward into the future. And you can't do that with dead weight, with people who've been there through losing times, or people who were great players, but now they've passed that peak in their prime. Mm-hmm. And whereas the old coach may have kept them on the roster another 3-4 years to let them gracefully retire, this new GM ain't having it. He needs to win now because he only has a 4-year contract. So whenever a new leadership comes in, new leadership purges everything that's there.
That's assuming that the new leadership doesn't have the same ideology. And I do not have faith that they're not going to put.
Why would they hire somebody else knowing what hiring Kathleen Kennedy's personality type did to Star Wars? Why would they even want to deal with that kind of controversy on top of everything again?
That's rife within Hollywood. They all agree that they're all on the same page. Even Bob Iger, when he purchased this stuff, he purchased the story treatments from George Lucas, knowing that they had no real intention.
Well, they told them also that they were not contractually bound to use any of it.
Yeah,
And they
exactly.
reiterated
Why do you think he put that caveat in there? Is because he had no intention of going with George Lucas's route, and there's absolutely
he was
no
being
intention
truthful
of
and upfront
writing
with
this
them.
ship.
So he was being upfront with them. He may not have verbalized it, but it was on the paper. It said we're not guaranteeing you that we're going to use one sentence.
That's not up front. This was a dirty deal, and everybody knows it. He
Mhm.
verbally assured him that they were going to probably use them, and that's why
No,
he
they did not. They didn't guarantee him anything.
I didn't
Well,
say
They said he'd come on as a consultant.
No, but like Bob Iger. I mean, again, I haven't read the book. I know Anna did a great recap of it, and I've heard some details from other people that have read that book. But I mean, Bob was like really working George about getting rid of Star Wars. And
Yeah, that he was.
Well, yeah,
He was
yeah.
trying to get him.
And
to
it was and if you listen to George when he's sitting there with Kathleen Kennedy, he was led to believe that this was the thing that was going to let the films live on and let the characters live on, and that is all because of Bob Iger and the things that he was presenting to George. You know, and so I think
Bob Iger's not a Star Wars guy at all. Bob Iger doesn't really know.
Neither is Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
None of them know anything about Star Wars.
But Bob Iger was the one who was like, we need to take this in a new direction. We
Gave
need
Kathleen
to.
Kennedy the leadership. He's the one who did that.
Well, actually, George kind of did. I mean,
Bob Iger is a straight numbers guy. He is a CEO type. He's a numbers guy and bottom line guy, and he dealt with a lot of their amusement parks. But Kathleen Kennedy was handpicked by George Lucas.
right.
If we're being honest about it, he drove the dagger into his own creation by hiring the wrong person. And you know why? I don't blame him 100% for hiring her. I blame also Steven Spielberg.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. So I think the decision to bring Kathleen Kennedy on was not just like George being like, I like her, but like it was kind of a layered decision. Spielberg is involved in every single decision that Disney does. Spielberg is the reason JJ became the director of The Force Awakens after he turned it down, because Spielberg got involved. Spielberg's the reason that Colin Trevorrow got the job, but initially lost it. Spielberg has his hands in everything. So I think that was a decision that Iger, Spielberg, and George Lucas were all kind of in agreement that they wanted Kathleen Kennedy to take that position. But I just believe that, look, I think Kathleen Kennedy's a problem, a massive problem. But if Bob Iger didn't like the direction she was taking it, he could fix that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
yeah.
you've seen her interviews, right? You know what kind of
Unfortunately.
perception there. You know what kind of perception it would be if he fired her.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
you
you're
know-
not gonna just openly fire her. Like,
They're not. They don't do that no more in Hollywood.
No.
They wait for you to step down, or they wait for you to retire. Either resign or retire.
at least not to a woman like Kathleen Kennedy.
I will say this: I feel like George Lucas is a passive. He's a passive aggressive or passive dude. And when it comes to him being around people who are of equal stature, everybody says he's a dick. When he's not a dick, but he's like ultimate controller, ultimate like narcissist when it comes to controlling Star Wars. If he's in it, when he's making a movie, but whenever he's around people like Spielberg, people like Cameron, who got real weight, and who are literally his equals, if not a little bit higher than him, he folds to him. And I think Spielberg twisted his arm. I think Spielberg folded him to make him pick Kathleen Kennedy, because Kathleen Kennedy was really Spielberg's pupil. Wasn't George Lucas's.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, when you look at that interview, he looks so uncomfortable. He looks so uncomfortable talking about selling this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is that like I think Bob Iger's contract is up in 2021, right?
Well, he keeps extending it. He's extended it like 3 or 4 times at this point. So
Yeah, that's true. I mean, so I guess we don't know if he's going to leave or not. But I don't think that Bob Iger is solely the problem, and I don't think that Kathleen Kennedy is solely the problem. I think that they both are a problem with the current structure at Disney / Lucasfilm, and I don't think that anything's going to get better until both of them leave. And even with that, who knows who's going to say that the next people that come in are going to be any better? Like, they could be just having the same ideals as not only Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy, but 95% of the people in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see. I mean, I'm open to things getting better. Totally. Like, I want things to be better, but I'm not gonna say like for sure that things will be better if Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger leave.
Yeah, there's really only one way to assure that at least at some point this will start to turn around, and that is by changing what it is that they receive financially, because you can't keep riding a horse with two broken legs, right? At some point, if it's not making them money anymore, one of two things will happen. They will either change gears because they recognize that there is, obviously we wouldn't have kicked up such a fuss if we weren't invested and we didn't want this to do well. We didn't want, like, we do care, right? So one of two things will happen. Either they will switch gears and try to start doing better, right? Like as Lethal says, do good, or get good, or they will simply abandon it until some future date where they feel like they can sort of pick things up and start over again. So I think that the only way to ensure that something does in fact happen is for us to speak with our wallets, if that's how you feel about it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the thing about free market. Like, we spend our money how we want, and you can actually bring down and build up corporations purely through your dollar. But
yeah,
again, I just say, I look at, just because I've been around these kinds of people, these kinds of, these billionaire CEOs, these billionaire owners, and all the people who run in their circles, like, these guys, if you're a CEO of a company, like, if you own something, you're about the money. I think Bob Iger is indifferent to whether or not, what's being put in Star Wars is good or bad. I don't think he really cares. I don't think he even watches. I doubt he watches Star Wars at all. He wants to see the numbers. Now, when you don't see the numbers and then you start to hear the complaints, that's when, as the owner, you begin to start to think about whether or not it's time to make a change. Not because you agree with anything she's about, but because now we went from being worth this much money to being worth this much money. And a lot of it has to do with this brand. What's going on with this brand? Well, logistics people are going to tell you this is what we're missing in merchandising. This is where we're losing our money as far as toys and everything goes. And these toys are, specifically targeting these age groups, these ethnicities, these whatever. Then you're going to have people who are monitoring social media. Here's the big uproar on social media about these things that are going into the movie, these things that have made these characters seem, unrecognizable based on what the fans have known about them, and these decisions in the filmmaking that have affected how people view the brand itself. There's a reason why Rian Johnson does not have a Star Wars trilogy anymore. And it's not because of Kathleen Kennedy. That's probably because of Bob Iger. Because Kathleen Kennedy is the one who gave him free reign to do whatever he wanted. And we all paid for that. So at the end of the day, I don't think that it takes getting rid of both of them to have a change. I think that Bob Iger is going where the money goes. Now, he's seeing lately that the money's not going the way it should. So now he has all these different people who are professionals coming and telling him the reasons why it's not working. And I guarantee you, 1/3 of that reason is the fans. The second third is the sales of merchandise. And the last part of it is going to be that interest in the target age for all Star Wars products has gone down substantially, because look at the movie that flopped. Look at look at these statements that your president of Lucasfilm is making to the public, that her director is making to the public. These are the reasons why we're losing money. So he's going to say, all right, change it. That's how it works. So I think once she's gone, then that circle of creative team people she has, they'll be gone too. The people who she hired to direct, they'll be gone too. And then they'll bring in another. You know who deserves the Star Wars franchise? What's his name? Mandalorian.
Filoni?
Favreau or Filoni?
Yeah.
Favreau.
Okay, yeah.
He deserves to have the Star Wars to be the head of Lucasfilm. I think that's somebody they might look at. If Mandalorian blows people's socks off, which I'm hearing the early reviews are A+, but hey, you can't even take an A+ at first mention anymore because they said Last Jedi was A+.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
so
I'm gonna have to bounce. Do you want me to say anything, or you just want me to tell y'all to go fuck yourselves? I mean,
You can leave. I'm in your room. Everything's fine now. You
bro, we over here getting it. I mean, I'm just trying to lay out how I'm looking at it. If I was a CEO,
see how he ain't gonna let me leave.
This film,
He ain't gonna let me
this
leave.
is where my mindset would be. I would be like, we're gonna get this money.
Can I leave?
And if we're gonna get this, you want to leave? I'm gonna kick you out.
I fucking said I'm gonna leave.
Everybody,
this is how it is being the boss of Geeks and Gamers. Nobody listens. Nobody respects you.
You're like the boss, and this motherfucking stream.
Jeremy, you don't need a dramatic entrance to leave. You can just leave.
And now, out the side. Dude.
I just want to say thank you to everyone for supporting a black man. It proves Geeks and Gamers is not racist. And that was really the only reason I brought Uche on, to have a token black guy. So
I needed one.
Josiah, did you get my email?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool. So just hit me up later on about that.
Okay.
Just shoot me a message because I'm going to be busy. But Mary, you're awesome. Because
You know what, Jeremy? I'll be sweet to you when no one else is. Would you like some candy corn?
Oh my gosh.
Let me get
time for me to go. Bye.
My house now, bitches.
Yeah.
Real quick, before
Yeah.
we get back into our convo, let me just run through some of these super chats because they've all kind of backed up. Okay, Celebrity Jeremy, $4.99. Think they'll reshoot the horse scene? Note, I never thought I'd say that about a Star Wars trailer. Yeah, I don't think any of us ever imagined. When I saw the horses, I literally, my mouth just opened up and I was like, horses? There are horses in Star Wars? Are there? There are horses? I've never seen a fucking horse in Star Wars, ever. There's not even a species called horse. What is going on here? And were they all? No, they weren't all women. They weren't all women. I'm just something in me was like, that must be the lady scene, like in Endgame.
Yeah.
All right. Darth Conicus for $5. Appreciate it, Darth. He says, after this crap trailer, I think I'll just see Cats 10 times this Christmas instead.
Oh my gosh.
That is a man who truly enjoys pain. Celebrity Jeremy for $4.99. Catering to the SJW agenda will kill any originality in storytelling. You know what? I agree.
Yeah.
And really, it's not even just SJWs. Catering to any kind of just social agenda or political agenda strictly is bad for any form of entertainment.
Absolutely.
It's not any form of entertainment at all.
Mm-hmm.
Shadow Khan Bro for $10. Appreciate it, Shadow Khan. He says, Riders of the Phantom Menace, the space horses are ready. Let's ride to victory against Disney Star Wars. Yeah, I mean,
I'm space horse with you. I'm sorry. I'm going to get in a speeder like a civilized person.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, they would have been like, horse. I'd have been like, what's a horse? And just looked at them like, that doesn't have an engine in it? That doesn't have a hyperdrive? All right,
or at least ride like something cool, like
get on one of these X-wings.
or at least ride something cool like the lizard thing that Obi-Wan Kenobi is
Right? Right?
Yeah, I mean, but he was on a planet that was full of like monsters and creatures like that. So
yeah, exactly.
It made
And it
sense.
could like jump like 1,000 feet or something. Like it was
These
crazy.
motherfuckers were on an ice planet. It looked like. Where the horses come from? Where did you import those horses?
They burrow in the ground, Uche. They burrow in the ground and they hibernate for winter. So
They better have like a sleigh bell in this movie too. Like
if they,
it's Christmas time, so it'd be a good chance to like cater to like the holiday season and stuff. You know.
I'm
I
telling
don't want
you,
that. No.
if they make a Christmas TV spot for this movie, you're gonna hear like ching ching ching.
We got a whole
Then you're
new Star Wars Christmas
Then
special.
you're gonna see just Clive Dale's hooves just hitting the top of the fucking Star Destroyers. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Put little glowing red noses on all the horses. Yeah, there you go.
Dude, I'm gonna go out and get a reindeer nose once they put those plushies on sale, and I'm just gonna stick it on one of those. I'm gonna make that my new background.
In a galaxy far, far away, space horses.
It's those same ones that she set free before. They just put them right back in the pin.
Oh yeah, the ones with the faces for their fucking heads, like human faces.
Exact same ones. Yeah, they didn't get free. They're still slaves.
they got them down the street. They got them down the street. Oh goodness. All right, so we got any more thoughts about this that we want to go on? Or let me check the super chats real quick. Let's make sure let's keep those super chats warm, people. Keep those super chats warm.
I don't know how much discussion you did of Kylo Ren waltzing around without a mask. What was the point of fixing the mask?
Moist Kylo.
What was the point of fixing the mask and putting it back together if he's not going to wear it?
Right? Like he literally did not wear it like at all during this entire trailer.
Kylo Ren. You know, I start thinking about it. Why did they name him Kylo Ren? It's not even like dark side-ish. It's just Kylo. It's like, hey, Kylo.
I seriously just want to call him like, hey, what's up, Kyle? How you doing?
Hey, Kyle. That's what they'll probably call him. Hey, Kyle.
I think they were probably just trying to think of the most emo name as they could for him.
Probably. Order a pie, Kyle. You want to get some pepperoni?
Better than candy corn. Damn, that's hard. I love candy corn.
And yeah, I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to the gas station after this stream to get some candy corn. Damn it.
All right. All right. Calm down. Calm down on the candy corn.
She inspired me.
No. Candy corn is garbage.
My hand disappears. It's there, guys. It's there.
Man, this candy corn nonsense is getting out of hand.
I just really wish that they would have went. I really wish that they would have went with Finn having some kind of force like sensitivity. I really wish they would have did that.
Oh my God, Uche, do you remember when you saw The Force Awakens for the first time, right? And Finn,
First trailer?
No, like the movie, right?
Yeah.
And when they do Star Killer Planet and they blow up all the worlds, right?
Yeah.
And you hear they have like that callback to how Obi-Wan sort of gets like overwhelmed. He's like, I just heard all the voices cry out and was suddenly
yeah.
But then Finn hears it, right? And then Finn hears it and he stops and he turns around and he sees it. I thought, surely to Bob, this is the moment where Finn
he's got force sensitivity.
Yes, that's what I thought. I was ready to sort of theorize about that. As much as I really did not care for The Force Awakens, I was excited about Finn because I thought he was going to be a stormtrooper turned Force user, and that was
such a badass idea.
It would have been fucking amazing, dude. That would have been like, this is where Star Wars can go, and it'll make great sense. And now you have a whole new character that you can, but there's still the problem of you have to develop him.
Yep.
Bring Ryan Johnson back into the picture for the second movie, and he again loses all development. So we can't get past The Force Awakens because we have to go through The Last Jedi.
Exactly. No one's character got screwed up more than Finn, besides maybe like Luke,
I honestly would say Finn 1, Luke 1B.
Yeah.
Because Luke's character. No. There is a special place in crafty storytelling where I could wholly buy into a hermit style Luke, so long as he returns at some point to the values that he had as a master Jedi.
He have to give us context though.
but there has to be context, right? There has to be
of course.
an arc
and not the context that we got in the movie.
Yeah, not the context they gave us, because it started off when, I won't lie. Very first time I saw The Last Jedi in the theater, see, I had hope for it that he would develop it a little bit better as the movie was going on. I had hope that, okay, maybe it's going to go this way, but we definitely will see Luke fight, because there's so much that, he's going to teach her how to use her force powers better. He's going to get confronted by Kylo on the island or, in that vicinity, and they're going to have a battle, and then he's going to get injured, and he's going to, and Rey is going to, basically help get him out of there, and they're going to flee. And then he'll run into Finn, and he'll start noticing that Finn has like certain things about him that are reminiscent of a Jedi. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you still got to get past him throwing the fucking lightsaber over his shoulder just to start thinking about that.
Yeah.
Because that was so offensive when he did it. It was the utter opposite of what the reaction of a Luke Skywalker would have been. He would have been like shocked to the point of tears. Like, where did you find this? How did you get this? Like, I thought this lightsaber was gone.
Yeah, exactly. It's so stupid, man. It's so stupid.
And if anything, you rush back in memories from his duel with Darth Vader in a quick, like, instant one or two, like almost in the same way that they did Rey towards when she was in the cantina.
Yeah. And I mean, Rian Johnson did it pretty much just for the gag, like him throwing the lightsaber over his shoulder. There were some people that laughed in my theater. I did not laugh. I looked at that and I just was like, wait, what just happened right there?
Yeah. I was told, wow. I was totally like, did he just throw the lightsaber over his shoulder?
Yeah.
That is his father's lightsaber. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
Why is it that he's preserving? Why is he preserving and holding on to those Jedi robes that he carefully folds and puts back into a nice chest in order to keep? And then he walks up there, but he just chucks his father's lightsaber over a cliff. Are you kidding me?
I mean, this is probably the most famous, the most valuable lightsaber in the galaxy, and you just threw it over your shoulder. It means more to you than any other person in the galaxy.
Exactly.
You your father with it.
Yeah.
You your father with it. He cut that hand off. You know what I mean? Like,
totally. Yeah. It's
how you fuck that up? How do you fuck that up?
And that's like in what, like the first 5-10 seconds of the movie, pretty much.
I'm like, dude. It didn't hit me until I was walking out of the theater when I was like, yo, that was Anakin's lightsaber.
Yeah.
He threw off the edge of a. Oh
I guess God. It wasn't quite that early because we had the first opening scene with the your mom jokes and stuff.
Yeah, we had the. Can you hear me now?
Oh my gosh! Even in that, I was just like, "Wait, what's going on right now? Is this supposed to be funny? Because this is just cringe. This is just absolute cringe.
It's a ridiculous, stupid person's idea. Funny. It's like sticking a 14-year-old in charge of what's funny or whatever. That'll make them laugh, even though I have no idea what's funny.
Yeah, and it was so funny because like in my theater, you could hear people like they weren't sure if they were supposed to laugh or not, so they were kind of like awkwardly laughing. Like people weren't like outrageously laughing, like in like I don't know, like, a Marvel movie or
joking.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I don't know what's going on right now, but
it's like the shoulder shrug, like, what?
Yeah.
What? Celebrity Jeremy, $9.99 on the super chats. Appreciate it. He says there is a lot of precedence for older Jedi Masters to be hermits, which again, like I said, I can see.
Yeah, I did not have a problem with that.
I can buy into that if you progress it the right way.
Yep.
But you have
I mean,
you do absolutely have to progress that the right way.
Well, yeah.
We're talking about Luke Skywalker here, right?
Yeah,
We're talking about the guy who would have been willing to lay down his own life for the hope that he might be able to save his irredeemable father, right?
Yes.
This is the guy we're talking about right now. We're not just talking about your average run. We're talking about someone who had an emotional connection, which made him
a literal connection.
Yes, an emotional connection that made him unique among other Jedis, because a lot of other Jedis who go into this sort of hermit mode that we've seen so far are Jedis who have for the most part been able to sort of detach themselves from the world around them. That's not Luke. Luke was never the kind of Jedi who was ripped away from his family and told not to have emotional. In fact, that was what distinguished him so much. You can't go after your sister, it's going to ruin everything, and he did it anyway. So to behave as though that Luke would do that, would go into hermit mode, you would have to have one hell of a damn good reason for him to do that. And I'm sorry, but we were never given anything even broaching that kind of concept. So no.
And I mean, and like you said, this is the guy that went up against his father, who was like the most powerful Sith, and like didn't kill him or anything. And then we see him trying to kill his nephew.
Yeah. Like, which I don't believe that's actually, I mean, they showed it in two ways, right? So they showed it in one way from Luke's perspective, one way from Ben's perspective. So there's that's a bit ambiguous. There's a bit of ambiguity there, just because it could be either one. So I'm not offended by that. And just to kind of finish off what Celebrity Jeremy said. He said, but there was always a really good reason. Also, the lightsaber over the shoulder was a total FU to the Legacy fan base.
Yeah.
Now, I believe in that just because of Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
I also believe that if the people who were his bosses actually cared about the Star Wars brand, as have a genuine care or had a genuine liking to the brand itself at any point in their lives, once they would have seen that movie in the screening room, they would have been like, Luke Skywalker's not going to do that. Take it out of the movie. I believe they would have did that if they had any real kind of experience with Star Wars at any point, and they knew anything about it. Because Kathleen Kennedy, she don't know Star Wars. Neither does Bob Iger. And the people in their creative groups, these are people who were outside of the legacy people who were part of Lucasfilm, which from what I remember reading, a lot of them got purged out.
Uche, you're behaving as though there's some kind of rationale here. No, there was never a moment where they stopped and said to themselves, we should have some lore experts on hand here. Their priority, and I do mean this as because it is as plain as the nose on, well, actually, it's not that plain on Ryan's nose here. It's as plain as the nose on Josiah's face. It's just, well, Josiah at least has a picture that has a decent nose on it. That they did not care. They never at any point stopped and said to themselves, we need to be worried about Star Wars here. What they were concerned with was making a movie that looked like Star Wars, but had a really solid progressive agenda to it. That was the concern.
I'm not. There's part of that that's true with Kathleen Kennedy. Just from listening to her interviews, I was like, yo, she's really got something against men. But again, like I said, even if she had an agenda she wanted to push from a social standpoint, if she was a fan of Star Wars ever at any point in her life, she would have known she would have been able to identify some of the most fundamental truths about the characters that are being portrayed in the movie and what they would or would not do. I believe that because it plays across the board in the industry that I come from in football. A coach who has never played in the NFL, who tries to coach players, doesn't garner, unless they are a true to heart motivator coach. They are a coach through and through, and they actually understand their players because they've been a coach their entire life. If they're not that kind of guy and they haven't played ball, they don't get much respect from guys who played ball because they don't know how to call a game from the perspective of somebody who understands the sport from that perspective. So that's where, having been coached by a coach who had never played, and having been coached by a coach who played in the professional level for over a decade, the distinct difference was the guy who played in the NFL was able to relate to his players better, got more out of his players, understood his players, and understood when you sometimes had to give control up to your players during the course of a game, because that's how it is on the field in real time.
You know what you're saying is so true, and I actually have an analogy that will sort of parallel that. So I was a military wife for 10 years, and I spent a lot of time around soldiers, around enlisted men, right? And one of the things that my husband and the soldiers that he had under them would relate to me on a regular basis is that they would get these sort of officers in there, lieutenants and things like that. They would go out there and into the field, and these guys would essentially act like dummies because they didn't know what they were doing, but they never had more respect for an officer than when he came from being enlisted first. And in fact, they valued them so much because they knew what both sides of the coin looked like. So they came from that place where they had been enlisted. They'd done the grunt work. They'd done the dirty work. They'd been down there in the ditches with everybody. And then when they managed to, prove themselves, make that hop and then go up to like that sort of next tier and become an officer, there was never anything but sort of pride and love and admiration for these kinds of men who understood where it all came from. And look, I don't even look. I'll be.
No, you're 100% right. Everything you're saying is a direct parallel to football as well. Like there is no better connection amongst football players, amongst team sports people, and amongst those who are in the armed services as being able to work with people who understand what you're doing, who understand where you're coming from. And a lot of times you can't understand unless you actually been there. And that's why I can tell you for a fact they have never been a fan of Star Wars. So for them to be in charge of it was a mistake from the very outset.
Well, look, I disagree with that, and I'll say this. I disagree that it's a problem for someone to be in charge of something if they've never been a fan of it, because there is a way around that, right? If a person is really good at sort of the aspects of running the business and making it work, I don't have a problem with it if you are not a fan of the stuff. But what you do is you surround yourself with people who can absolutely help you where it is that you have a shortcoming, where you're not able to go all of the way with it. So I mean, and I believe Jeremy said something to the effect of, look, he surrounds himself with people who are smarter than him, with people who can show him and tell him and help him to grow beyond what it is that he was, just beforehand, right? Like, so you surround yourself with those people who can do the job, do it better than you, progress you, push you forward. And then that would have been fine, but that was never her goal. Her goal was never Star Wars. Her goal was, and I wouldn't have minded the sort of progressive leanings and things, right? Because Star Wars, when it first came out, the original trilogy was in its own way quite progressive, right? Like you had these strong, empowered females, right?
Yeah.
Leia was quite progressive and Lando was quite progressive. And you never looked at Lando and saw color. Or you never looked at Leia and saw her gender. You just saw these wonderful, amazing characters who were capable and strong and had these well fleshed out arcs. Yep. And so Star Wars itself is perfect. It's perfectly fine if it's progressive, but nothing should be progressive for the sake of being progressive.
Yeah, that's where their problems. Yep. That's where some of their problems were. Progressive for the sake of saying we're progressive is not progressive.
No, it's actually quite backward.
That's just an attempt at indoctrination to your own ideology.
It's literally Hollywood right now. So,
but you know what? You know what the good thing is? I think that's starting to break. I think that's starting to break. Mainly right now, at least because of things like Dave Chappelle, things like Joker.
Yep.
Things like Joker. But you know what? That's the first time that the entire internet of SJWs and those people who are of that kind of mindset, that's the first time that I've seen where they trashed the shit out of somebody for the things they said, and it literally did not work.
Well, yeah, because Todd Phillips didn't back down.
No, I'm talking about Dave Chappelle.
Oh, I thought you were still talking about Joker.
He didn't back down either, though.
Dave Chappelle brought it 100%, and called everything by its name. And they fucking butchered him on Rotten Tomatoes, but it didn't affect his popularity. Not one. It made him 10 times more popular.
Oh yeah, it helped him more than anything.
Because and I think that right there was the first real crack in this whole divide between, you know, am I against things that are progressive? No, not necessarily. But I'm against you telling me that I have to be progressive or I'm a problem because being progressive is subjective. Like what is progressive to you may not be progressive to me and vice versa.
Well, and look, I don't think there's anything non-progressive about the fandom menace movement, right? Because
no, I don't either. I just think that when you do it with subtlety, you get a much better reaction. When you do it and try to shame people into feeling like that's how they should be, you get the exact opposite reaction. Because nobody wants to be told that they have to feel this way to be a good person or to be a logical person. Once you start getting into that, people's natural reactions is to pull their arm back. Like, man, get your hand off me. What the fuck you talking about?
Well, the problem with like SJW progressivism is like it's really about division, really. I mean, it's about like dividing people, segregating people into different boxes and whatever. And that's not what the Phantom Menace is about. I would say that, in some ways we are progressive, but we're doing it the right way. By, like I don't look at Uche like, oh, he's the black guy on the stream. And I don't look at Mary as, oh, she's the woman on the stream. I mean, you guys are just my friends. You guys are just people that I'm working with. So
yeah, absolutely. Like I've never even considered, I fuck with Jeremy about it, but I've never think about people's color.
Right, exactly.
Well, I had this really wonderful moment on Twitter. I think it was last week, right? So most people just seem to be completely unaware because it doesn't get brought up very often because it's just not that big of a deal that I'm bisexual. I'm a bisexual female, so therefore I am LGBTQ, right? I discovered that people weren't aware of it, and it got brought up, it got turned into a thing by people who weren't even within the Fandom Menace, right? So I put that out on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, so I guess you guys weren't aware, although I'm pretty sure nobody cares. I am in fact.
I heard that the first moment you said it. I heard it.
Nobody cared, though. Nobody. Cared.
Yeah, I don't care.
Whoop-de-doo, right? So it's just one of those things that it doesn't matter. It doesn't come up because it doesn't matter, because my bisexuality has nothing to do with who I am as a person. It is an aspect of who I am. It is not who I am. And so to slap that label on me as though, okay, well, she is a bisexual female, therefore she is a LGBTQ feminist, right, or woman, is a ridiculous thing to do, because then you break me down to these base components that have nothing to do with who I am as a person. I may fit into some of those demographics, but that doesn't mean that that means all of a sudden inherently I must get behind everything that has anything to do with LGBTQ or feminism.
Exactly. 100%. 100%.
I agree. I agree with you all day. Like, it's never my whole philosophy is I just give people a blank canvas and I let them paint their picture of who they are for me.
Exactly.
I don't, and that's it. And that's how I judge. I don't even judge. I don't judge. That's the thing. That's just how I know how to deal with you. That's just how I know who you are to me, based on what you show me. Because you can't hide who you are forever. You can only hide it for about 20 minutes, and then your natural ticks and inclinations are going to start kicking in when conversation begins to flow and people begin to relax. So, I'm a psychology major, so I spent 5 years studying how human behavior actually works and all of the little subtleties that come with human behavior. People give themselves up within 10 to 15 minutes. It don't matter how fake you try to act. You're going to be who you're going to be. As soon as your body relaxes and your brain relaxes, you are who you are. So I judge people accordingly.
You need to judge people on an individual basis. Look, I'm not saying that there's no place in the world for groups of people, because you can't avoid it. People are somewhat tribalistic in nature. But when you deal with people on an individual basis, and you should try to do that as often as humanly possible, then you treat them as the individual that they are, because no one person is a clone of another person just because they happen to fall underneath of a couple of categories. And everybody falls under a bajillion different categories. categories, right? Like you could
Exactly.
if you stuck me into all of the categories that I belong in, then you would wind up with exactly what I am, which is an individual, which is how you should interact with people. Get to know a person and talk to them first before you decide who and what they are, before you pass this judgment on them that says that they're unworthy of your time, because you have no clue who that person is or what it is that they've dealt with in their life.
Mm-hmm.
No, 100%. And you got anything else to add, Josiah?
No, I mean, I was just going to say that, you know, in turn, this whole division by being progressive attitude that the SJWs have is in turn affecting our entertainment in the way that, like, it isn't painting well-developed characters because of that, because it is just continuing to make our characters fit in these certain boxes, and that's all that they are, and then that's all that they become in the show or the movie or whatever, and it isn't painting a full canvas of a character. And and so in that way, it's kind of how it's affecting our entertainment as well. So
yeah, you know, it's affecting. One thing I noticed, and after this I'm going to grab a couple of the super chats. One thing that I noticed that really, like, how do I put this? I think people are starting to get confused with what is art, what is you know, is cinema, what is creativity, and what is actually a representation of some kind of ailment within, you know, any specific group's thought process. I mean, and I say that because of a review, or not a review, but an opinion that I read in the New York Times of all places about Joker. And it was a black guy who somehow twisted an entire movie into a metaphor for white superiority. And I was just like, you know, I read the article, then I watched a couple of videos on it. I think I watched The Quartering did a video on it. Somebody on Geeks and Gamers did a video on it, I think. Mm-hmm. But dude, when I really, because I never, you know, I think of myself as a pretty thoughtful person. Mm-hmm. And I read this guy's article and tried to keep an open mind about it.
Right.
And I literally almost chucked my phone out of the car window reading this fucking article, because I'm thinking to myself, how in the hell can your dumbass look at this and say this is somehow a metaphor for white superiority? If it was a black guy, he would be treated completely differently by these people in this movie. Dude, did you watch the movie? Did you see how this guy was being treated? How would you think that a black person would be treated any differently? Like, dude.
Exactly.
A bum is a bum. You walk by him. Sometimes you give them money. But at the end of the day, people who are mistreated in society, they're mistreated not because of what their color is, you dumb motherfucker. They're mistreated because they're fucking seen as useless. Because they're seen as not having any value to somebody in the course of their daily routine. So how can you sit here and say if it was a black guy who was Arthur Fleck, he would have been ignored even worse? And this is just showing that how a white man, how it takes so little of their privilege being taken away for them to feel so oppressed.
So little of their privilege. Did they even watch the movie?
This motherfucker didn't have no privilege at all. It wasn't because he was white. Look, there's a small smidgen of truth to an old saying out of the South that it doesn't matter how, and you know, I'm gonna try not to use the slurs, but in full disclosure, I'm not technically from the South. I'm from the Southwest. I'm from Texas, so it's a little bit different, but I live in Atlanta, and Georgia is, man, I mean, that's like the slave capital outside of Mississippi back in the day. But whatever, neither here nor there. But there's a smidgen of truth to a saying that you know, the poorest white person would still rather be white than be black. There's a truth to that. And we're not going to go into the depths of that here. I'm just laying it out there from my perspective. Yes, there is truth to that. They wouldn't trade places with a black person, no matter how much money that black person has, for a reason, because it's a numbers game at that point. In the history of it, we all know. But this movie, which is really playing it pretty straightforward in how it's laying its metaphors out there, in no way, shape, or form gave me any kind of indication that this was because of anything dealing with race. And it had nothing to do with this guy was a clown. This guy was working as a clown at twirling a going out of business sign, and he was beat up by kids in the very first scene of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to tell me that would have been played any other way if that guy was a black clown?
Mm.
Outside of maybe he would have caught their asses when he was running. If they hit him with that dang sign, he's going down and he's getting his ass kicked all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And whether it's in black culture or white culture or any culture at all, the people who are at the lowest part of the wrong get treated the same way. It doesn't matter if they're what race they are. White folks will treat white folks who they deem as people in any race. If you deem that this person is not worth your time or is a waste of space or blah, 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 you know how it is with society.
Yeah.
We all treat them the same. They all get treated the same in the general sense of society.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that you can look at a movie like this and determine that there's any racial metaphors that are being slid under the rug.
There's nothing about it that had anything to do with race. It was the story of a man. And why can't he just be a man? Why is it?
Right, exactly.
That's where they're getting it twisted.
Yeah. Why can't he just be a man? Mm-hmm. Why is it that you must constantly force down everyone's throat the differences, the completely and utterly not worth mentioning differences between one person to the next? This is a happenstance. It has nothing to do with that individual person. It happens to be the case that their skin is whatever color it happens to be. They took no part in it. It has nothing to do with anything. So why are you focusing on it 24/7 all of the time to highlight the differences between people, the differences that ultimately don't matter? It's a pigment. It's a pigment.
Exactly. Yeah.
A pigment that was decided by genetic adaptability about 40,000 years ago. It really just matters. It only changed because of the region of the world you were in at the time. But aside from all that, I think that people are just getting it twisted and starting to look into trying to find some kind. Because people want to feel like they know something, like they're smart. They try to find race and they try to determine all these psychological ills within society without actually going through a process to determine if it's really what you're looking at intended effect was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. It's a moral superiority point.
Yeah. When you start pulling out this shit about race and something that really is ambiguous to race as it comes. And then they were talking about the relationship between Zazie Beetz' character and Arthur in the movie as a representation of, oh my God, of white male superiority over feminine, black woman who has been historically been placed lower on the rung than even the black men. So they get treated with little to no respect. He imagines himself overpowering, going and having his way with her after he murders 3 men in a subway car. And I'm just thinking to myself, dude, I would, if I saw you and if I could see you in person and be reading this, I would walk over to you and smack you with this newspaper because you're embarrassing me as a brother. You're fucking embarrassing me. You're reaching. You're reaching.
I think reaching is exactly the term for it. Look, I think that it was probably one of the most colorblind movies I've ever seen in my life, because it never had anything to do with a person's race or color. And she just happened to be the woman in the elevator with her kid that was there at that moment, at that time, that struck him as beautiful in the way that he needed to be struck in order for him to continue this fantasy, right? And sorry, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen the Joker. So I guess I should have said that ahead of time, but no, she just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and her color had nothing to do with it. How much more progressive do you want?
I mean, it was completely ambiguous. Look, they were trying to recreate 1981 New York, right? 1981 New York, you would have been hearing racial slurs up and down the street, or in these conversations that these characters would have been having if it was like a Scorsese film. If you take it back to that and you go real with that and remove Joker from the equation completely, that era, that time in history, race was still a thing. Like open racism was still a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Open racism. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
If there was any opportunity to do it and be justified in it being at least a part of the picture, this would have been the movie to do it, because it would have made sense based on the timeline.
Sure.
They were so precise and they were so concentrated in the story they were trying to tell, and in the character they were trying to deconstruct and take the layers down and see who it is, that there was never a single reference or even inference, innuendo at all of any kind of race.
Not one.
It didn't play a factor in anything.
And I seriously keep going back to that in my head. What more do you want?
You know what? Let me pull this article up. Right? Let me pull this article up, because I can't even do it justice. It was so unbelievable how this guy's.
Well, and that's the thing that just blows my mind, is that these people don't realize about the Joker is that this movie isn't supposed to be an observation on race. It's supposed to be an observation on our society. And it's a movie that can speak to anyone, because this movie deals with society in a way that it can relate to anyone, because we all let's be honest, we all have moments where we're in those low spots like Arthur is in moments in this movie. And so that's the beautiful thing about this movie, is that it deals with that. But these people want to twist it in a way to make it into issues that it's not about. It's supposed to be a movie that's about that's 100%. Dealing with issues that everyone can relate to.
No, 100%. And I think that's where a ton of the general population decided that they were. I mean, again, that's where I see another another crack in this whole, 4 or 5 year long trend of this, overly politically correct, overly offended on everything, outrage culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's where I see that. That's where I see another big crack in it, where it's going to start crumbling apart, because we all know Tom came out and called it by its name, woke culture. He said all this woke culture shit has got comedy so messed up that I had to go to something else. But you know what? We're going to address that even a little bit in this movie. Without even addressing it, they addressed it.
Yeah.
And that's where it's so smart, and how that movie was made, was that they addressed our society and they addressed the woke culture without even bringing it up. It was all encompassed in the vibe of the movie, the temperature of it, the seriousness of it. And I think a lot of people love it because it really we can all relate to it, because we all deal with that shit, dude.
Exactly.
I mean, I deal with it, dude. Like,
oh yeah, trust me. A couple of years ago, I was more broke than you could imagine. Like, I was scraping up quarters trying to find food for food and stuff. Like,
not even just being broke, just being mentally exhausted.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I was in depression and everything. Like, and 2019 has been a really telling year to see those cracks that you're talking about start to form. I mean, we've had so many instances just in this year alone where we're seeing people waking up and seeing the nonsense that's going on and pushing back against it. Dave Chappelle was, probably the best example from this year. But the things that Todd Phillips was saying was great as well. It's just really cool to see that some people are seeing the nonsense that's going on and are starting to speak up against it. I don't think that we're going to see any of the big directors, like the main people in Hollywood, saying anything about this, but I think we're going to start seeing some of the smaller people like Todd Phillips talking out about this. So,
well, Todd Phillips ain't small no more.
He
officially has Christopher Nolan clout.
He's a champion in my book now.
He's a champion. Any movie he wants to do next, Warner Brothers is not letting that cat make no movies for nobody else.
Exactly.
Totally.
Totally.
Same treatment that Christopher Nolan got. And that's why it's so beautiful to be a DC fan, because it don't matter how much money the MCU has made. It really doesn't matter. There's a simple difference between DC and Marvel, that there is no closing of that gap at this point, because now DC has done it twice. DC has changed the comic book movie genre for the second time with one character.
Yeah, it's true.
With one character twice.
True.
Changed it on a level of art and a level of uniqueness that will garner, more than likely, it a Best Picture award. Absolutely a Best Actor award.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that. I mean, that was a performance for the ages.
Yeah.
This studio has had the luck, and to a degree, that makes DC as a label under Warner Brothers, in a certain respect, it makes them the dominant brand.
Sure. Yeah.
Because you make all this money by running this little PG theme park with the MCU, but we're over here changing cinema.
Yeah.
And you're going to change with us, because what happened after The Dark Knight? Everybody went gritty. Everybody.
Oh, yeah. Everyone. Yeah. Like literally almost every movie that came out after that was like gritty for like 2 years.
Gritty. That's what DC did.
Yep. Yeah.
Until Iron Man. No, not Iron Man. No, it was
Iron Man came out in the same year as The Dark Knight. So
okay, so then it was after the Iron Man. It was like 2 or 3 years after The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
that everything was just dark.
I mean,
everything was dark, real more grounded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And now they've done it again. They've shown you that the R-rated movie that costs $40 million might hit $1 billion.
Yep.
Now you think we can't repeat that? We damn sure can with these directors we got.
Right.
Shoot, they might even bring Zack Snyder back in.
Yeah, and
make your movie.
I think DC is really waking up to the fact that they don't have to be Marvel to be successful, and I
don't know how they got it so twisted like that, though.
Yeah. Well, they saw how successful Marvel was, and they wanted that. They wanted a piece of that pie, but it wasn't their type of pie. So
it wasn't their pie. Even DC Comics are darker comics than Marvel comics.
Exactly.
There's Mary. Here, let me check these super chats real quick.
I think it's great.
Oh, dude, I felt, I almost made a video about DC going more Elseworlds to solve their problems, but then I stepped back and looked at it, and that's what they were doing. That's what they were doing after Justice League. They kind of started just going more into just this singular movie, different story. Yep.
And it works out so well for them.
Canon. We don't even care about the canon. What canon? Yeah. We don't know what order it's in either. We're just releasing movies. But they just stuck to just doing one movie. Don't connect it. Let it be its own story. And then they really went Elseworlds with Joker, the first Elseworlds. And now the next rumor that's hitting the rumor mill right now is that they're doing another one, and it's going to be Two-Face.
Yep.
Let Todd Phillips do that. Just let him keep ripping them out.
Oh, dude. Yes.
Oh, okay. Chat real quick. Okay. Whoa, crap. Woo. Let's see here. We got Chris Stanley for $5. Appreciate it, Chris. Says yes, Uche. Yes, Uche. Yeah. ShadowCon bro, $10. Yo, people need to tackle that like button. Uche is dope. Go Cowboys. Motherfucker, I play for the Jaguars. Go Cowboys. No, appreciate it.
Maybe he just likes the Cowboys.
I played my last year in Dallas, so yeah. But I don't tell people that. Celebrity Jeremy, $4.99. Stories are supposed to be the opposite of a lecture. Whatever point you are making is subtle and gets past people's defenses. It's about persuasion. Absolutely. You got to spoon feed it very slowly so people don't recognize that you're giving them poison. That's a joke. ShadowCon for $20. Okay, appreciate you, ShadowCon. Uche, you are amazing. I apologize for my earlier super chat. I agree with you 100% on Star Wars. Also, Mary is freaking awesome, and Josiah is dope as hell. I don't know if Josiah is going to appreciate you saying dope as hell.
I'll take it.
I think Josiah will live.
I'll take it.
You'll take it. Hell yeah. $4 from Chris Stanley. Preach, Uche. Well, I appreciate that you guys are, we're all having a good conversation there, but I think we all pretty much agree on what's kind of, screwing around the movie industry right now. And, again, it's Hollywood. They get caught in those waves sometimes. Well, every time. But, the wave is going to change. And I think we're seeing that wave change now. And again, like we said before, Dave Chappelle kind of kicked it off. Bill Burr even got a good piece of it too with his new stand-up.
Yeah.
But he was in London, which I know they got it over there. It's a problem over there in London too, but they're not gonna pump you up like America's gonna pump you up for coming with some real shit. Like in London, they're a lot more reserved about pumping you up. They're gonna cheer and laugh, but they're not gonna tweet that much. In America, you're gonna get 1 million tweets out in 20 minutes on one thing.
Yep.
Shoot.
Yeah.
So he I think he missed the train a little bit with that, but I love Bill Burr. Don't get it twisted. Bill Burr is savage.
Yeah,
he is savage, and he's from that Dave Chappelle tree of comics. But that because it's just like football. They got one main artist or one main player or one main head coach who, after a certain number of years of success, his assistant coaches become head coaches, coordinators become head coaches. With Dave Chappelle, he blew up on Chappelle's show, and he put Bill Burr, and he put what's the other dude? Ashley Larry. He put Ashley Larry on, and from there, them cats started going on their shows with Dave, and then from there they branched off to their own thing. Now Bill Burr is right up there with him,
and he's so funny. He's
hilarious, dude. He be saying what I be thinking in my head all the time. I be like, yes, I am an asshole. So what? Yes, I do have a problem with people. So what?
I love the stuff that he does on women, right? Like, because it really is very, like, he's not far off. Like, in fact,
he really ain't. I'll be like, you're telling the truth.
Like, well, women do the stuff that he talks about. We'll sit there and we will argue a point if we know we're right? But if we're mad at you and we know that we're wrong, we'll be like, we'll talk to you when you'll calm down. Right? Like, we will absolutely do that.
No, I'm crazy because I know I'm right.
Yeah, sure, you don't hit women, but that doesn't mean there's not a good reason.
Hey.
There's no reason to hit a woman. That's not true.
That was one of the funniest things I ever seen him do, talking about that woman shit.
Oh, man.
He said, yeah, never hit a woman. But
that doesn't mean there's not a reason.
It's not a good reason.
Have you met some of these women? Look, having dated a few women myself, well, not like I'm pretty slim down on the numbers of people I've dated, but having dated women, they're fucking crazy.
They're
Yeah.
nuts. They're freaking insane. And to act like there's
Yes.
there's no reason a woman could ever get you for you to want to be like, oh my God, I want to slap you right now. To act like that is not possible is the height of stupidity. Have you met some of these women? They are insane. They are completely bonkers. And that's why you don't just date any old woman, right? Like, no,
Yeah.
you're careful. You be careful. You don't date a psycho because they're out there
Right.
and they will give you plenty of reasons to want to hit them.
I'm telling you. Look,
Not that I've
Yeah.
we done strayed off a little bit, but I'm telling you,
I can say it because
Well,
I
a
wrote my
woman- a
ranting
woman-
card.
A woman could make or break you. Let me tell you what. It's so true. It's so true.
cheaper to keep it there, boy. You ever seen Martin, the TV show Martin? Y'all never
No.
seen Martin with Martin Lawrence back in the 90s? How old are y'all?
Like, well, disclaimer,
Nope.
I'm not saying hit women. Don't hit anybody. I'm just saying there's plenty of reason of men.
There's a reason.
Look at
Has a woman ever deserved to be hit? I'm sure
Like, if
there's
she
plenty of
goes and
times.
takes all your suits and lights them on fire in the front yard,
Hit, but you're not gonna hit her.
don't hit her. But that doesn't mean that it's not a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were a man, I would have kicked your ass right now.
Exactly.
All right, we got another super chat in here. Winslow Friday. DC characters, specifically in the Batman universe, adapt easier to these more intimate personal studies that blur the line between popcorn fare and cinema. No, I agree. I mean, DC's characters are historically of the more a bit more mature storylines than what you find in Marvel. I mean, Heroes in Crisis, I don't know if anybody's ever read that comic in DC, but Heroes in Crisis deals with superheroes having PTSD and having a special getaway where they can go and talk to an AI, an artificial intelligence, that basically evaluates them after being involved in a big hero conflict, because they don't just go back to their normal lives. Some heroes get killed in battles, some heroes get maimed, and there are some heroes that are lesser known DC characters who are in it. There's also the main Justice League characters and the top tier of characters, because they're all pretty much involved in a number of different missions while they're coming back and reporting to this AI system, and the AI records each session. So, the heroes actually start talking about the things that depress them, the things that have scared them. They have little mini breakdowns and start crying in the session with the AI, because the AI is, obviously it's comic books, so the AI is like super intelligent AI.
Yeah.
It just knows how to talk to you like a normal therapist would talk, like a normal person would talk. I mean, they have Batman in there. I mean, every hero takes off their mask, takes off their cowl. So Bruce Wayne's in there with his cowl off, talking about the last Robin that he lost, talking about his son and how he wouldn't be able to, handle if Damian died, while they were working as heroes. But DC's characters are just, they go there with those characters. Mm-hmm. They always go there with those characters. That's why for a lot of DC fans, I know me especially, Man of Steel is one of the best comic book movies that has ever been made, because they went there with Superman where DC, where we kind of want them to go. We want to kind of have them take a take on a character and bring him into this world and bring him into the problems that every kid had to face, regardless of how strong you were. He still got bullied because he had to hide his powers. He was socially awkward because he was always worried about saying too much or doing too much because of his powers. And then that's kind of a unique perspective on Superman, but it's one that, if you really know the comic books, they've gone there a few times, and that's why Man of Steel works to a lot of Superman fans who aren't enamored totally with the Donner films, because that Superman was a Silver Age Superman. The modern age Superman and the New 52 and the Rebirth Superman, this is a Superman who has to deal with problems, who has to deal with kids, who has to deal with life itself, not just being Superman and saving cats.
Right.
He don't do that. He fights against galactic terrorists, basically. And he watches other heroes die, so he's affected by that. And so again, like I said, DC is built for it. Marvel is what it is, and that's why I don't disagree with what Martin Scorsese said. That shit is like an amusement park. You're going for the ride, because there's never any real stakes or any deep dive into the characters that they have in Marvel. There's just not. They haven't done it once. They haven't done it with any of those characters. Iron Man is the closest, and that was just for the first movie. Ever since that, his character's been set, his trajectory's been set, and that's how they've gone. Same thing with Captain America. They didn't even give Black Widow an opportunity at it, and I thought she had the most to go with if you wanted to go dark.
Yep.
Go dark.
Well, they're doing the movie now. It's just
PG-13.
Pathetic.
It's a bit late at this point, because we're sort of like,
if you want a female 007, that's the one you use right there.
I'd like to see it go that route, like I'd like to. That would have been the route that I would have taken. And I'm not going to dive down the 007 female rabbit hole, of course, but like that is what you should do if that's what you're trying to introduce to people, this sort of measure of equality. Okay, so we can have a female super spy, then that's how you do it. You don't appropriate a character that already exists and hand a female the title and go, look, aren't we progressive?
Right. Exactly.
If I wanted it for myself, I'll go out. Well, I want to go out and get it for my damn self. I don't want to take it from somebody who already has it. I don't need to take what belongs to a man in order to feel empowered. Why don't I just go earn it? I don't know, for myself.
Yeah. Hey, Dave Chappelle said it best. Hey, do you want equality or do you want special treatment? Because if you want equality, maybe you should just be good enough to make it into the NBA. Maybe you shouldn't have your own league. If you want special treatment, then hey, take away a 007 and call this character with no backstory, with no layers built in, just all representing one perspective solely. And she's gonna push that out the whole movie. She's gonna get in arguments the whole movie, making herself look more and more like a bitch. It's like, damn. You set yourself up to fail anyway.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to actually get going here, guys.
I was about to say the same thing. I
think we can call it a stream there. I thought it was pretty good.
It was really good. Thanks for having me on, Uche. I appreciate it.
Hey man, appreciate you guys being on here. Mary,
anytime, man.
I'm so sorry about the computer stuff. I have no idea what happened. I got a blue screen of death. And it was and then it was like, okay, well, but it restarted pretty easily, so I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, but I will talk to you guys later. And chat, have a good night as well, chat. And
appreciate everybody in the chat. Make sure y'all follow Josiah and Mary's channels.
Peace.
And follow my Observant Lyman Uche whatever channel. And we are going to get up out of here. So once again, appreciate everybody. We will catch you on the next stream. Peace.